rose of the ashes, the spirits light up the night.
Now, we're live from the Untold Radio Network. It's Untold Radio AM with Monster Quest producer, host Doug Hajicek, and co-host Jeff Perrella Jr. Untold Radio AM is going live right now.
Hello, hello.
Hey, everybody. Hey, Jeff. Welcome. Episode 250.
250.
That's a quarter of 1,000.
Yeah, it is.
Ask any college grad that, and you might not get that. That's okay. It's kind of a coincidence. This is our 250th show on June 25th in 2025.
Oh, wow.
And I feel like a 25-year-old, so that's 4 25s just today.
Nice.
I'm
Yeah,
acting
cool.
like a 25-year-old also today. I was procrastinating all week doing show notes.
Yeah.
And then today I went, oh, crap. Today's our show.
Today is the show, yeah. In
know.
fact, we're live right now.
Anyhow, life just got like yesterday. I spent the whole day unclogging a freaking drain.
Yick.
That's what I did. 80 foot down into the ground, I finally found a soap clog of
Ick.
literally pure soap.
Ick. That's no
I'm
fun.
not joking. It was soap.
I believe you. Could have been worse than soap.
I know. It was a drain, not a.
Yeah.
Not the other.
Yeah, I've seen some strange things in drains. You never know.
Yeah, I suppose. Anyhow, it's like, but 3 plumbers had come and couldn't deal with it. 3 of them and failed.
Weird.
So I'm like, well, I'll just go get my own snake. And I went and got a 100-foot snake. It was actually like a flat steel iron. Then Eric came over and helped.
yeah.
And we spent hours and hours, but we did get it done.
That's no fun. I don't like plumbing. That's no fun at all.
No. Anyhow, so that's one of the reasons I was behind all day.
Yeah, we're good.
Got to deal with life sometimes. Just stupid junk.
Yeah.
Dishwashers breaking. Garbage is
Oh, yeah. Trust
Things
me, I
don't
get
last.
it. I work in a restaurant. I get it. There's always something to fix.
Yeah, that's right. You have a lot of equipment. I feel like.
Never ends, man.
All right, tonight we've got a really good show. We've
Awesome
got
show tonight.
25 guests. No, I'm just joking.
It seemed like it, doesn't it?
Seems like it. No,
We
we
got
have
3 great guests.
3 great guests tonight.
All Minnesota.
Yep, all Minnesota people. So it's a Minnesota themed show.
Huh, cool.
Land of 25 lakes.
That too. Yeah, at least upwards of 25.
Upwards of 25. I heard 10,000.
Something like that.
So anyhow, these are all people that have had a sighting on an 80-acre parcel in northern Minnesota. I'm not going to give away their names right now, but we'll, if you're aware, you already know maybe who they are. But we're going to bring Randy, John, and Mike up. But before that, we get into all those weird stories. We're going to do some clips. We've got a little bit of audience trivia, and we got a really good tech breakdown. Super cool tech breakdown. Could change the history of research. Think about it. Just one person doing the right things could change everything.
That's what it's going to take. It's not going to be some professional university person. It's going to be one of us. There's no question in my mind. It's going to be one of us.
I agree. Could be anybody at the right time, the right place, the right equipment. And
we've got some smart people in this community. They'll figure it out.
Kind of like Roger Patterson. So who's going to be the next Roger Patterson?
It's going to be one of us, for sure.
Yeah, well, I've been trying to be just somebody who gets even a still picture.
Sure.
Not easy.
I just want to see something, man. I got to get out there.
Well, and then don't want everybody to forget about the New York Bigfoot Conference coming up this fall.
Yep.
Plenty of time. Go on the website, buy your tickets. And then there's also the Crossing Realms Bigfoot conference that we're sponsoring in Missouri this fall.
Yep.
Go on the Crossing Realms website, or it's actually Ticketbrite, right?
Eventbrite, I think.
Eventbrite. Sorry, I never get that right. So go there, get your tickets, and then there's a new. Before we get going, before we do the news, there's a new Untold Radio network, kind of little spots, like a musical spot. I thought we'd play it for fun.
Sure, here we go.
All right.
Tuning in as the night takes hold. Untold Radio Network starts to unfold. It's all about mysteries that shiver the spine. Unknown creatures crossing the line. Monsters creeping in the pale moonlight. Unseen things that go bump in the night. Missing people and shadows that lurk. Untold Radio Network doing the work. Oh, oh, oh. Voices whisper, tales untold through the static. Their secrets unfold from the cryptic woods to the darkest seas. A network of wonders, no guarantees. Monsters creeping in the pale moonlight. Unseen things that go bump in the night. Missing people and shadows that lurk. Untold Radio Network doing the work. Dive into stories where logic is blurred, where the eerie echoes have rarely been heard. A web of the strange where the brave take flight. Untold Radio Network keeps us up all night. Footsteps vanish in the dead of the hour. Unknown forces with a gripping power. We're chasing the truth, but it's out of sight. Untold Radio Network, God in the light.
There we go. Hello?
Yep, I'm locking up here. You see me okay?
Yeah, see you perfect.
Oh, I'm getting a video. I'm getting a weird video glitch here.
Are you? Well, we don't see it.
Oh, I can hear you fine, so I'll just deal with it
Oh, good.
for now.
You're getting a video glitch. It must be the Untold Radio shadow people.
Yeah, must be.
No, that wasn't Alex singing. Wasn't Alex singing. So what are they? I'm impressed, but that's not going to be for the new intro, Kim. This is just a commercial that's going to run. It'll be a ad buy on YouTube. That's all it's going to be. So yeah, no, it won't be the old intro will still be here. I'm not a real big believer in changing intros.
Yeah.
They wanted to do that with Monster Quest. And I had no choice. I'm like, I wouldn't do it. I wouldn't do it. And they did it. And then I called them and I go, why would you do a Zoom through a bunch of condominiums in New York for a while? And then I submitted another one and they went with that one. But you shouldn't change intros, I don't think.
No, I agree.
Yeah. So we appreciate your lovely comments. And that'll just be a commercial. And it'll be on our homepage, too, I believe. You know, when you go to the homepage and sometimes something will play. Anyhow, down to the news. Let's do a little bit of weird news.
Okay, here we go.
Untold Radio news that can be a bit weird is right now.
righty. The first thing we have is it says it's official. Scientists have confirmed what's inside of our moon. Now they're saying, for a while it was the hollow theory, right? It rang like a bell when they shot explosives at it or some missile at it. And now they're saying it is solid. Completely solid. So what do you think? What do you think the moon is? It's not cheese.
It's not?
Like my dad told me. I'm still mad at him for that. What do you think it is? It says it's a solid ball, but I don't know. They keep changing their story on it. It says the moon is in fact a solid ball with a density similar to that of iron. It says researchers hope all will settle the long debate about whether the moon's inner heart is solid or molten. So apparently it's solid. There we go.
Cool.
Enough of that moon crap. And then, oh goodness, thankfully, experts are warning us over a dangerous new insect species spreading across the U.S. Where do you think it came from, Jeff? This new insect. Take a guess.
Oh, I'm going to take a wild stab and guess that it's probably from Asia.
It's from Asia. Oh, wow.
What are the odds?
You're right. Experts issue a warning over a dangerous new insect species. And they call it an insect, but we're talking about a wood tick. This is called the Asian longhorn tick. First identified in the U.S. in 2017 and now has been found in 17 states and is spreading really quick in southeastern Pennsylvania, where cases have surged of course, disease over 150% in the last 5 years. So apparently each one of these ticks lays 3,000 eggs. Yeah. So 3,000 little longhorn ticks are born.
Boy, I am having some major PC issues here.
Well, why don't you just go ahead and reboot?
I will.
I'll visit with everybody till you get back.
Okay.
Do a reboot.
Can you just sit there and look pretty for a little bit?
Yeah, I'll just sit here and thanks.
Alrighty, let's see. I'll try to take this picture off.
I'll say hello to people. How's that sound? That sounds like fun.
There we go. Alrighty, I will be right back.
Sure.
Sorry about this.
It's all right. You're still here. Oh, he left his frozen picture up there. Oh, there. It's nice. Anyhow, we've got Loretta Collins in, Sly Fox, John Ayers. I see Greg Olson's here. Hello, Greg. Mary Jo is in. Kenny Hess. Who else we've got? I'm looking here. Randall Stewart from Channel 12, being Randall, or Randy as I know him. Had a great talk. Randy called when I was swamped. I'm going to call you back, Randy. I probably don't want me calling you after the show, but I can. Just say, yeah, call me after the show. We got Flat Rockland. We got Jason Roddy, Kim Kincaid. And then, of course, we have our moderators, like Sly Fox. Oh, we have Todd Newby. Hi, Todd. Long time no see, long time no talk. Todd is in the chat because he's been there. We should have probably had Todd on too. Todd, maybe we can get you a link. You can pop in if you want. We got Kenny Hess, Alan Goodler, Brendan B. We got William Robinson, one of our newer moderators, and Sasquatch Watch Radio. Somebody would mention that was a lot of soap. You want to know how you prevent drain clogs with this kind of soap? Don't buy soap with moisturizer in it, which is basically grease. And so that's what happened. House full of women using moisturizing bar soap, and it built up in the drain and the shower drains and everything, and then went down to the main clogged with probably an 8-pound thing of moisturizing soap. Hey, you're back.
I'm back. Got to give me a second here to get. I had
You're
all my
back.
stuff set up, ready to go.
All right.
So
I was talking about
bear
clogs and
with me.
drains. We probably lost all of our listeners. Going, what the hell is he talking about?
Yeah. All right. Let's see here. Let me get
Todd in New York said, Todd said we all need a reboot. Yes. Randall says, put baking soda down the drain once a month. Yeah, that would help with that greasy, moisturizing soap. I told him, use something like Johnson & Johnson, like, and they're all like looking at me like, no way.
All right. So we were up. Let's see here. Photo 3 was next. I am actually.
I was talking about, I don't even know what I was talking about. I was talking about the moon. I was talking about the longhorn tick, which we don't need any photos.
No, we don't.
Which is terrible. That's just, we need, Jeff, another wood tick.
Ugh, I hate
That's
wood.
just horrid to think about it.
Yeah.
And of course, they spread different diseases. I don't want to even get it. Look it up, study it. Just keep using your permethrin and different things that you do to keep ticks off you. So don't get a tick bite. Now, scientists claim, I love this because I'm thinking, why wasn't this done way long ago? Have done a study where apparently plants have a secret set of roots deep underground that scientists didn't know much about. Right?
Mm-hmm.
We all knew about roots, and of course, I was told many, many years ago, I think by my dad, the same guy who told me about the moon was made of cheese, that the roots are the exact size as the upper part of the tree. So that whatever you see above ground is what's below ground.
Oh, okay.
But now scientists are saying it goes much deeper.
Yeah, I kind of would have figured that.
And I'm thinking, well, yeah, probably with little, dinky roots. But here's what it says. It says about 20% of the plants have a second set of roots deep underground. New research shows our understanding of plants and tree roots may have been somewhat shallow, no pun. New research reveals many plants have a hidden second roots that extend far deeper into the soil. So apparently this new study was published June 17th. So it's a new study. It's published in the Journal of Nature Communications. So if you want to read it, you can usually read all these papers for free. I don't want to get into too much detail here, but it's just kind of common sense, I guess. Why would the roots just stop?
Yeah, I mean, anyone who's ever transplanted a plant, there's way more roots. I mean, there's a lot of roots, and they're like hair. They're just tiny, tiny, tiny.
The next thing will be the roots of your tree go to China.
I can tell you. I can hear from the stories you told me. I can imagine your dad telling you that when you're.
Oh my God,
your dad's had some good stories.
Especially when I was, like pretty impressionable. Probably at about. We used to sit outside a lot every night in the summer, and we'd call it, "Go sit outside and watch the world go by."
Yeah.
And it would be my chance to just ask him dumb questions as a kid.
Sure.
And I'm sure I got some dumb answers. But he took the time to do that because, boy, I drove my parents nuts asking questions.
Oh, man. Me too. I drove my parents, my teacher. I had a million questions, and they're pretty good about humoring me, but I'm sure I was exhausting as a kid.
Yeah. You're exhausting now. I just said that. Sorry, I couldn't resist.
All right.
Oops. It says oops. The article says oops. Scientists may have severely miscalculated how many humans are on Earth. And I'm thinking, okay, yeah. What would be your first clue? So apparently, just to summarize the story, they undercut the rural population, right? Because it's obviously harder to measure, by 53 to 80 some percent.
Wow.
Right? They underestimated it. So apparently they were only estimating it.
Oh.
Because, it's kind of hard to drive up to the old farm, knock on the door if somebody come out with a shotgun.
Yeah.
Because there's some dude there on a briefcase thinking that he's selling something. So I just think that they've been estimating. This goes all over the world, right?
Sure.
So Earth's population, they thought the estimates were 8.2 billion. So you're going to have to add another 50% onto that.
Wow.
So that's quite a hit, right?
Yeah.
I mean, that's crazy. 53% to 84% in rural areas. So actually, you wouldn't add that much to it.
Right.
I don't know what the rural thing is, but you definitely probably could be pretty safe in adding 500 million to 1 billion people on.
Yeah, I would think so.
Yeah. All right, next. I love this one. Residents are devastated as a highly toxic plant rapidly spreads through nearly 3/4 of the nation. They don't, and of course, it's Africa they're talking about. Caused entire communities to be displaced. So they thought because parts of the Sahara and areas around Kenya were kind of sandy and dry and whatnot. So they thought they were bringing the UN, thought they were bringing it. And the plant, of course, just poosh went everywhere. It's high in sugar, and so there, in the article it says, "Oh, it makes goat's teeth fall out." And of course, I looked it up, and some people say, it's just that it's high in sugar, so it's nutrition. It's got a lot of energy. This plant is called, oh my god. So apparently, okay, so this plant has also redirected the flow of waterways.
Doug, your audio's breaking up, Doug. I just see a
Oh.
comment in the chat too.
How about now?
That's better.
Okay. I'm not sure what happened there.
Oh, you're much better now.
Okay. All right. I'm just looking here for the name of the damn plant. Oh, it's called methengy plant. And every time I see the DNR or people, they bring in things all the time. They bring in some other bug to combat the Asian ladybug, and then
Right.
that goes crazy, and then I got to bring in another invader to combat. It's just
That's been the history of the world. Every time we've done that, it's been a
messing
disaster.
with nature. Yep.
Yeah.
Mess with nature. And now we'll get into something that mimics nature. The Chinese military unveils a mosquito-sized drone that can
Wow.
perform battlefield missions. What could go wrong here when this technology gets everywhere, right?
Yeah.
You see
How do you
that
co-
photo?
Yeah.
Okay. Says the Chinese military unveils a mosquito-sized drones that can perform battlefield missions. And it says its development is likely focusing on surveillance, reconnaissance in complex or sensitive environments. The drone's main unique selling point is its, really compact size. I'm like, well, yeah. So miniature
By pure
bionic.
chance, they own a bunch of land near military installations in the U.S. I think
Yeah,
we
and
do
they
something
have
about
these
that.
little mosquitoes.
It's not a good combo.
I'm just saying, eventually this technology is going to be everywhere.
Yeah, it probably is already everywhere. We just don't know about it
you
yet.
know what I mean. Well, I'm sure every country already has it, but I'm talking about available to buy on Amazon. That's what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
It's just getting nuts. So there we go. And then they discovered the first methane-powered sea spider found crawling around the ocean floor. Now, this is methane-powered, and it's quite complex, the system this underwater spider uses. But I can try to kind of summarize. So scientists say a new found Syracusura sea spider may pass methane-fueled bacteria to their hatchlings as an easy source of food. So they're feeding methane to their babies, basically.
Wow.
So it's an actual food for their babies. And apparently this greenhouse gas is a nourishing meal for some of the world's most mysterious creatures,
Wow.
which we kind of know about, right?
Sort of.
Sort of. So anyhow, and of course with pizza comes methane, right?
No comment.
Anyhow, so if you see any sea spiders somewhere, let me know.
My pizza is 100% sea spider free. I'm positive of that.
Good. That's good.
Verified. It's sea spider free.
Now I was talking about around behind you. I wasn't talking about your restaurant.
Good.
Oh boy. Let's see here. What do we got? Let's do clips quick. Okay. And we still have everybody in our background. Oh yeah, I see John, I see Randy, and I do not see Mike.
He should be on any second. He said he had to step away, but he should be back any second.
All right.
But let's play some clips. You ready?
All right. Yep. All right, clip 1. The sound is good. Have you ever seen daytime fireworks? People play it yet. There's a new thing with daytime fireworks where they're using dyed charcoal. It's kind of cool.
Oh, your audio's going again.
Oh.
Sound like you're underwater.
Okay, hold on here. Maybe I need a reboot.
Could be.
Did I unplug my cord?
Oh, no. You sound fine now.
Okay, I'll have to look into it later.
Okay, well, let's play our clip here.
Might be a loose cord. These are daytime fireworks. They use color dyed charcoal.
Wow.
That's pretty awesome.
Wow. Wow.
Go ahead and play the other clip, Jeff. I gave you the
That's really cool.
So you can see the lights light up the powder. There you go. Look for a new type of fireworks.
That's cool.
Yeah. All right, clip 2. The sound is good. This is explained as a very good herd leader. Obviously, this woman knows these elephants, but this is quite touching. Go ahead and play this.
Are you there?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. I'm having some just issues tonight.
What's going on with you, Jeff?
I don't know. I got
Sea
some audio
spiders?
issues, video
Methane
issues.
spiders? You got methane spiders?
I might. I don't know, man.
Well, what's going on? Tell me. Tell us
I'm
all.
okay. I'm okay now,
Okay.
but some of these clips I'm having a hard time playing.
Okay. Anyhow. Did you see? So that woman was the herd leader, and so it started to rain, and they all protected her from the rain. That was the idea of the clip. It's pretty cool.
Elephants are amazing. They're so smart.
Yeah, they are.
You ever seen elephants mourn the dead? It's crazy.
Yeah, I've seen clips of that. It is.
It's crazy.
Very human-like. All right, clip 3. Sound is good. So if you think it's sad because your car is like getting old and maybe got some rust holes, how would you like to deal with this? All right, we got this.
No thanks.
That's kind of common. It's kind
of it is.
All right. One of the things, too, if everybody who's backstage, make sure your mic is muted. Okay, so clip 4. This man calls himself a snakeaholic. Now, I've never heard of a snakeaholic, but this guy likes to catch these. Go ahead and play this
Yeah,
massive,
second tier.
massive Burmese python that this guy caught. That's big.
Snake up. Let's see. That's all we get.
Yikes.
Take a guess on the length of this one. Those coils are every bit as big as my thighs, if not more. And I tell you what, this snake feels like it's made out of bricks.
All right. It's a big one.
Oh man, no thank you.
Yep. Clip 5. So this is about Otis. Otis is a creature who lives in a hollow log. And you'll never guess what kind of creature Otis is.
Hello, Otis.
What do you think you're going to see?
Brought you something. How we doing?
Wow.
What is all over your face? You were playing in your pond again. Would you like a blueberry?
He doesn't like blueberries.
No. What do you want?
That's
Okay.
pretty cool.
All right, that's Otis. All right.
Otis.
Otis, he's a box turtle. Oh my goodness. Clip 6. Let's see here. This is a very, very cool dragonfly called a southern hawker.
Wow, it's huge.
Look how beautiful this thing is.
Yeah,
And big.
it's massive.
I just think dragonflies are so amazing.
Yeah, I used to love catching them when I was a kid.
There you go. Another hawker dragon. We had a name
Cool.
for big dragonflies, and I cannot remember what they are. When I was a kid, we called big dragonflies some name, and it just won't come to me.
I just remember catching them, and yeah, they're pretty cool.
Let's see here. Dragonflies are really smart. That I do know. Super, super intelligent.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Oh yeah, they have for an insect, probably the highest intelligence.
Really?
Yeah, they've done
not know that.
intelligence tests on dragonflies. They probably can outsmart a lot of college students. Sorry. Let's see here. What do we got?
Clip 7's next.
Oh yeah, clip 7. It's about frequencies, and it's so interesting. I'm sure people have seen this, but this is a really good example how quickly frequencies can, shape matter. Go ahead and play this.
So we'll pour
If you
some
don't
salt
think
on
it
the
has an
black paint.
effect on you when
And
you're
I will
playing a
vibrate
certain
it
type
with
of
the,
music in your car, it does.
Bass
Yep,
bow.
for sure.
It'll
Watch.
stick and slip.
It's just sand.
And I found a natural frequency, one of the
Oh,
low
wow.
ones. It's going whoosh, 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 whoosh. At the same time, this part's going like that. It's in two dimensions. And it pushes literally the salt out of these areas where it's vibrating a lot, and they settle there. If I add some more salt again, I can vibrate in the same spot. And this plate has a natural frequency higher than this one. Let's see if I can find it.
Oh,
It's not always a pleasant sound, and I can stop it from vibrating.
Isn't that cool?
And they don't have to
That's
always
wild,
be
man.
straight
That's cool
lines.
as heck.
So now the plate's moving up and down here
Yep.
and here. So I'm going to force them to make not vibrate there, but vibrate where my bow's at.
wow. Yeah, I think vibrations and frequencies and harmonizations, that's kind of the key to a lot of stuff.
Oh, it's killing my ears. All right.
That was fun.
Enough?
That's
Okay.
enough, please. Anyhow, it's just really interesting.
Yeah, it is.
Okay, clip 8. This is a sound is okay. It's just like a lightweight motorcycle car, but it's got a clear body, so it's kind of cool looking. I just wanted to show this. I thought it was cool as heck. It's probably what, Lexan or even stretched vinyl?
Boy, it's hard to tell. It looks like stretched. Yeah, it looks like it's stretched across there.
Yeah,
That's cool. Yeah.
Kind of like that convertible top window material.
Yeah. 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 That's kind of what it looks like to me.
That's vinyl. All right. Clip 9. The sound is good. This is a comfort brush. These are going in all over a lot of cattle ranches, dairy farms. I just think it's got to be loved by all these creatures.
Yeah, it's kind of a neat thing. The cows just love it.
Look at this pump. Laying it down. All right.
That's a happy cow.
Yeah. But I'm thinking they don't make those for humans.
I bet it'd feel pretty good.
Oh, that's what I mean. How come nobody has made one for humans? Maybe a little softer bristles, but
Yeah.
that would be kind of nice, wouldn't it?
Yeah, that's a
Come
good
home
idea.
from work and just like,
Yeah.
get the old brush down. I think somebody should. I think they'd sell them a jillion of them.
Let's make $1 million doing that.
Oh,
Why
let's
not?
be, yeah, Jeff, let's do it.
I'm down.
All right, clip 10. Sound is good. Do you know what a die wheel is? Or a die, they call this a die wheel bike. This is it.
Yeah, of course.
There you go.
That's cool.
Not practical. I'm sure that was invented. Did you see? I looked up all the bike inventions from way back in the 1500s beyond. Oh my God, the contraptions people.
Oh, we're losing your audio. You're getting your muddy. Your audio's getting a little muddy again.
What's going on?
Now you're good.
There's got to be something loose. All right,
Yeah.
just let me know and I'll beat on it. And I'm going to have to
Yeah.
rewire everything again. Here we go. All right.
Bonus clip.
Bonus clip. Mud skippers. I don't know if people know what mud skippers are, but these things are really hungry.
That's pretty cool. Do they breathe air or do they just hold? I don't remember if they can breathe air
I'm
or
sure
not.
they just breathe air. Yeah.
Yeah, it's pretty cool.
Yeah. They're definitely on their way to being evolved into something, right?
Yeah. Yeah, you think so.
All right. Let's see what we've got. I wanted to do just a little bit of audience trivia, but we could wait on that. Let's just do our tech breakdown real quick.
Sure.
And then I was thinking, we have all these wonderful people on tonight. Maybe we could even get a bonus show out of these guys, or one or two of them. Even if somebody can stay, we can do a bonus show.
Sure.
That'd be kind of fun.
Yeah.
But anyhow, okay, tech breakdown. Go ahead and roll.
All right. Here we go.
All right, we're going to talk about installing. So do you call them one-way mirrors or two-way mirrors in your tent? Would it be a one-way mirror or a two-way mirror? I guess one-way.
One way, yeah.
So what would a two-way mirror would be? Not a mirror. It would just you look at it both ways. One-way mirror.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. But what I'm going to we talked about those, I think it was last week.
Yep, last week with the
But
Mylar
here's another, and I told you about using them in front of your camera traps. Okay. This is a way to actually glue small windows with one-way mirrors in your tent that are waterproof.
Okay.
So you could choose the one-way mirror film, but my choice would be to spend a little extra, get the polycarbonate, and just round the corners a tiny bit so you don't cut into any or fray any nylon, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So what you're going to need, excuse me, is obviously mirror film or polycarbonate mirrors. You can get 4 12x12s for $27 right now, and probably cheaper if you shop a little bit. You get a tent. Throw up the tent, Jeff.
Okay.
This tent is only $69. It's a 4-man tent, which means it's a really good 2-man tent.
Right.
Which most people don't like any more than 2 people in their tent
No.
anyhow. I don't know too many that do. A lot of people like to sleep alone, but it's a great tent for either solo or 2 people. All right.
Cheap.
$69 delivered.
Yeah, it's cheap.
It really is. It's actually, you got to understand all tents are made overseas. They're all probably made in the same factory. I doubt they're ordering in 90 different kinds of nylon. It's probably just close to the same. Maybe the real expensive tents have an extra stitch, or two.
Yeah.
I just can't tell any difference anymore nowadays.
Yeah.
It's really hard to find I've seen people have like $800 tents. I'm looking at it going, there's no difference between that and a $80 tent.
Yeah.
I can't tell the difference. There may be, maybe one will hold up in the sun, but really, who wants an old tent? They get all nasty, they get moldy, they get, better off just using it a few years and upgrading. But anyhow, so you're going to need goop. And we're going to specifically put up the type of, they call it amazing goop. It's a marine grade. So it's very, very waterproof. It's very, very sticky, and it works really, really good and sticks really well to these acrylic mirrors or the film, and it will stick really, really good to your tent fabric. That's why you go out and you get a tent specifically that you can ruin.
Mm-hmm.
But you're not going to ruin it. It's going to be your favorite thing. Trust me on this. Okay, so you're just going to need scissors. You're going to need masking tape, a Sharpie, 2 pieces of cardboard from a box that you have enough to work with. And you're going to want to cut out 2, what do I have here? 8x6, or just cut out one 8x6 piece of cardboard, nice and square, nice and rectangle, and another 10x8, which will give you a 1-inch border. So you're going to set the tent up on a dry day. You're going to go in with your cardboard tracing board is all it's for. You're going to find where you want these windows. At least put 1 in, obviously, but you can put up to 3 in that type of a tent. 1 in the back, 1 on each side. Put them low. So that way, yep, there you go. Put them low. So that way, if you hear something or you want to look outside, you don't have to sit up. You don't have to get out of your sleeping bag. You can center them like this, or you can put them off to the side. I would recommend putting them off to the side. Does that make sense?
Yep.
Find out, in other words, build the tent, figure out where are you going to be most comfortable sleeping, and put the window there. Where's your buddy going to be the most comfortable sleeping, or your kid, whoever. Put the windows there. And so you put the cardboard in, you take a Sharpie and just draw it out, the big one, and draw it out. Then take the small one and put it on the inside, center it, and draw that. Have somebody on the outside of the tent to help support it, because the tent is going to be set up while you're installing these, including cutting the windows. Blah, blah, blah. Okay. So you trace it with the Sharpie, and then you just simply have to then cut the inside hole. So the white part there, the inner white part.
Yep.
You cut that out. Got it. Do a really nice job. Nice sharp scissors. Long strokes.
Oh, you're getting muddy again.
Muddy testing.
Better. There we go.
I don't know what's going on, man. Maybe I need a reboot.
Yeah, some days it never ends.
All right. Yeah, I know. Somebody's after us. So you cut the white part out, and then with a very sharp scissors, and that green part is going to be where your glue is going to go. Because you've traced it. There's a line there. You don't want to go over the line. You're going to use your marine grade glue, and you're going to put a bead down the middle of that green. Yep. And you're going to put a bead down the on the edge of the mirror, because the mirror you're going to cut to the big size, only the big size. And you're going to install everything from from the inside. So you're going to install these mirrors, glue them in from the inside. Once again, it's good to maybe have somebody standing outside to help you, right? And then you can push maybe on the outside too to get it all sealed. It's a contact. The goop is a contact. So you got to have a coating on the mirror and a coating on the fabric.
Right.
You could do the old way where some people, you put a bead on the mirror, you push it on, then you peel it off, and then you push it back on. It leaves glue. I mean, that's one way to do it. The transfer system for contact cement.
Sure.
And then just let it dry. And you now have a tent that you can see out at night or daytime and nobody can see in.
Right.
And the reflection doesn't look like anything. It just, it might even it'd be really awesome if somebody said, oh my God, I had a Sasquatch looking at himself in the mirror, right? Combing his hair, seeing himself for the first time. So maybe you want to put a mirror up on top. You could, up higher.
Yeah.
Because often I hear story after story. In fact, Adam had that happen just 2 weeks ago, where something pushed down on his tent with what looked like a hand. Mm-hmm. What does that? I don't know. Bears generally don't do that kind of thing.
Right.
So.
No, I like your idea of having it low. Like you said, you don't got to move. You can just kind of, without moving, just look out.
Plus, this is, if you use the polycarbonate or the acrylic or whatever, they have polycarbonate, they have acrylic ones. They're all going to work. You feel safe because it's a hard little thing, and you don't have to slide anything. You don't have to open a porthole. You don't have to do anything. Just look with your eyes.
That's a cool idea. I like
you
it.
Put a little curtain. Jeff, you'd make a little curtain. Little curtain rod. Did I miss anything? I don't think I did.
No, hopefully.
You can also have masking tape then to once you put the mirror on, it should bond instantly. But if you need to, you should have masking tape ready to, you can just kind of tape it up till it dries. Mm-hmm. And just leave it overnight. By morning, you got yourself a really neat tent. And you install them from the inside, because then any water that gets in will just stay on the outside of the tent.
Sure, makes sense.
All right. That's it. And I have not field tested this, but I'm planning to.
Yeah, it's a cool idea.
Yeah. So, and do this at your own risk. But.
Well, start out with a cheap tent. If you wreck it, what are you going to do? You wreck it.
Well, yeah, of course. Yeah. Do it at your own risk. But there should be no reason. I've installed portals in tents. There's no reason to have this fail.
No.
You can always, you can have they call it a hot knife if you want to seal the nylon edges after you cut it. You don't want to disturb it until you glue it, right?
Right.
Because that can kind of unravel. But if you've glued it properly, it'll never unravel.
Well, other thing you can do too is you put tape before you cut it. You put tape over it and then cut through the tape. Then the tape will prevent the edges from fraying.
Yeah, they have fabric tape too, don't they?
Yep.
They sell fabric tape.
So you put the tape right where you want to cut, and the tape just
good
stays
idea.
there.
Thanks, Jeff.
Yeah, done that kind of stuff before.
It's done. Done. All right, our guests, are they ready to come on? It looks like it. Everybody's ready. Okay, first, John Badger. He's a member. I think he still is, of the SRI. Sasquatch research. What does that mean, John? Research investigators?
He'll tell us.
Yeah, it's all right. He'll tell us. But he's an independent Bigfoot researcher for sure. He's also a photographer. He's a great outdoorsman. He does tracking. He's been a friend of mine for quite a few years. And then we have Mike Quast. Mike is a great writer. He really is a talented writer.
I have 2 of his books.
Yeah, his words really come alive. He's published many books through the years. He's been doing Bigfoot research for 30 years.
Wow.
I mean, he's definitely a pioneer in it. And always focused kind of in the Midwest and Minnesota. He's got, I think, 4 or 5 books published through Hanger One.
Yeah.
His best-selling book is Sasquatch Central. Do you want to throw that cover up?
Sure. Got it right.
High Strangeness at a Northern Minnesota Homestead.
Okay. Oh, why is it?
Anyhow, well, we don't.
There we
There
go.
we go. So Mike says he's been a Bigfoot researcher in the state of Minnesota for over 30 years, dedicated to the pursuit of the giant, hairy, upright walking, man-like or ape-like creature. And that he keeps encountering people who have had encounters with this creature, right?
Mm-hmm.
So, and he's from Fargo, North Dakota. He's kind of right on the edge of Minnesota or Moorhead, right there. So he lives in good. He can stand and put 1 foot in North Dakota, 1 foot in Minnesota if he wants.
Mm-hmm.
And he started investigating Randy's case, who's the last guy I'm going to introduce, who happens to own the property, who kind of started it all. And I remember the first call I got from Randy. By the way, throw up Mike's newest book, the Bigfoot, the Minnesota Scene, the purple one.
There you go.
Yeah, there you go. That's his newest book. And Randy Bauer's next. Okay, so Randy's the property owner. He's a great musician, a great singer. And he got interested in Bigfoot only because of the activity on his own property, as far as I know. He's had experiences, many, many sightings up there. Lots of people have had sightings there. I had a weird experience up there, too. I can't deny it. And I'll talk a little bit about that at the end of the show. And Randy, and there's another, he plays like every instrument. It's incredible.
Talented guy.
Randy doesn't do this for attention. He gets his attention on stage.
Yeah.
Right? He's an entertainer. He doesn't, this is not, in fact, for a long time, he kept everything very secret.
Sure.
And I was actually encouraging him to, go public and whatnot. But he was really super private with it all. And let's go ahead and just bring everybody on and get this going.
Okay, here we go. 1 second. All right, and here comes everybody. Boom,
Whoops.
boom, boom.
There we
Look
got-
at that.
There we got Randy on the right. We have John on the bottom left, and we have Mike Quast. Hi, guys.
I'll
Hello.
stay on audio, but I'll turn my camera up so everybody's bigger here.
Oh, there we go. I don't know who wants to start, but let's start with you, Randy, real quick. How did we met because of Bigfoot? That's no question. I know that.
That is exactly right.
And I remember the call. It was probably, almost 5 years ago, 4 years ago?
It might be even longer.
Yeah, it was a long time ago.
Longer. Mike would know
Randy-
he's good on dates. I'm not.
Yeah, I'm not either.
I'm not.
But Randy had questions for me. He was very, very inquisitive. And this thing kind of grew and grew and grew. And, other investigators went up there, which 2 of them are right here in the room with you. And they had their own experiences, along with obviously your experiences, which is why they ended up there to see if they could have their own experiences, because I think that's what a lot of researchers want. They want to see what's been seen. And I don't blame them. And finally, we're going to jump to John real quick. John, you've been going up there for a long time.
Yeah, quite a few years. I've been going up to see Randy, and it all kind of started back with the SRA, the association I was
SRA.
with.
Sorry about that.
Yep, yeah, that's totally fine. But yeah, it was started with that because Randy had reached out a while ago to another member, and he told me, let's drive up there and see what's going on. So we went up and interviewed Randy and stuff like that, and it's quite a few years ago, but Randy and I over the time have become very good friends, and have spent, I don't know, I've lost track, thousands of hours out there at his property, spending the night to just, running up for the weekend and stuff like that. And
Yeah, tracking tracks. I know you've done a lot of that up there.
tracks, we've had a lot of sounds, a lot of, structures that we've investigated,
Right.
with Prince, almost Prince became almost too common up there. It was just like we saw so many of them. We didn't even cast them anymore. It was just we'd find trackway here or trackway there. Sometimes a single print, and sometimes it was drought, so we didn't find anything. But a lot of stuff going on at his place, I have to
Yeah.
say.
All right. So, and I want to describe Randy's property. There's a major river in the front. There's streams and creeks that go through. There's beaver dams, swamps. It's a lot of second growth trees. Wouldn't that be a good description, Randy?
Yes, it would
Second growth.
Yep.
Very active. A lot of deer, a lot of bears, a lot of coyotes, a lot of wolves. Do you have moose up there, Randy?
I've never seen moose, but we sure have seen cougars.
Oh, cougars, yeah.
Yes, cougars.
What other animals have you seen that I didn't name?
Oh, the normal beaver, muskrats,
yeah.
otter, big animals. Pretty much got the bear, lots of bear.
Yeah,
Pretty
you
much
do.
got the big animals. Wolves.
Yeah.
I've seen wolves and coyotes.
Yeah.
Timber wolves, big ones.
So it's a very productive property. You wouldn't necessarily know it. A lot of people think of Bigfoot activity as like old growth trees. That's where they are. That's where they're at. That's not true. They love second regrowth, reprod, some people call it. But let's go ahead and get Mike on here. Mike, hi. Long time.
Yeah, good to talk to you.
Yeah, it's good. By the way, why do you think everybody loves your book?
Well, I haven't gotten 100% positive reviews, but I guess a lot of people do. I've been writing stories and comics and things like that since I was a little kid, and once I got into researching Bigfoot, it just seemed like a normal thing to start writing books on the subject. And I guess, like Randy says, I'm just I have a way of putting words together really well.
Yeah, well, you do. You have a great talent, Mike.
He does.
But one thing I want to say about Mike, and I'm not exaggerating, he is the most down-to-earth, matter-of-fact guy you'll ever meet in your life. It's just the facts only. That's Mike Quast. He's always been that way. He was the first Minnesota research I ever heard about way back, and I mean 30 years ago. I found out about Mike doing research in Minnesota. He was just like, I can vouch for this guy. Just he's not. If he says he didn't see anything, he didn't see anything. He says he saw something, he did. And Michael, let's just go ahead and start here. Your crazy story. When I dive right into that.
Your mic is working weird again.
Oh boy.
There, now it's good.
Okay, now. Sorry about that. I don't know what is going on. I may have to reboot. All good, Mike? Everybody hears me?
Yep, you sound good now.
Okay.
Yep.
Jeff, you can come on back on. Don't go away. We're good.
Okay. All right.
Yeah, we're good. The more the merrier. Okay. So, Mike, tell us what happened. I want to just pick it up from the moment you got up to Randy's, and what happened and what did you see?
Well, this was June 6th, which everybody knows as D-Day, and it's kind of funny how afterwards I was thinking it'd be neat if I could say I had my sighting on D-Day, but it was after midnight, so it was technically the 7th.
Okay.
Well, I got there, and two people that were supposed to be there, John was one of them, it turned out couldn't make it, so Randy said it's just the two of us. So during the morning and the early afternoon, we went out hiking out to the state land and saw several tree structures out there that Randy had never seen before. And in the evening, two other friends of his came and joined us, and we were sitting around the fire for several hours, and nothing too much happened. We heard some owls and things like that. It started to get late, and eventually people started turning in. I went to go to my tent at around midnight, I would say, and took quite a bit of time getting into it. I found out my air mattress had gone flat when I got there, so I had to inflate that again, and then it turned out it had a leak in it. And so once I finally got into the tent, then I was still, just kind of messing around, trying to get comfortable and changing clothes and everything. And probably close to 12:30 or so, When I
Okay.
finally got situated and was comfortable enough to just lay down and start trying to fall asleep. So that's when my tent had finally gone quiet. And I think what I ended up seeing was probably really close by, just watching me get ready to turn in for the night and waiting for when I got quiet. So after a few minutes, my eyes were sporadically open and closed, and they happened to be open when I looked towards the door of the tent, and there was an unusually bright 3/4 moon that night that was shining right into the door,
Okay.
through my mosquito netting. And so what I saw was backlit by this super bright moon. So I just saw it as a black silhouette. The first thing I saw was a couple of yards out, what looked like upper chest, shoulders, and head, just a black outline that seemed to be just kind of weirdly floating towards my tent door. And the natural first reaction is like, am I really seeing that? Is that what I think it is? And like this, no way, this can't be. But then sure enough, it came right up to the tent door until all I was seeing was the head, and it actually pressed against the door. And then as I was just laying there on my back with my head up, just going, oh my God, oh my God, oh my God, basically freaking out, especially when it then brought its hands up on either side of its head and was looking in at me like this. And these were really big hands. I've got big hands myself, and these were at least an inch longer and an inch wider than mine.
Wow.
The head, it wasn't a cone-shaped head like a lot of witnesses say. It was just like a human-like head, about the size of mine, I would say. And I didn't see any red eyes either, just this black silhouette. And I just stared right back at it for about the first minute. And then I started thinking to myself, okay, do you know what this is? How many decades have you been waiting for this? I had one sighting when I was 8 years old, and this was only the second one of my life. It was 49 years I waited for this. So I just said to myself, do something, anything. And for a while, we're all friends with Jen Cruz of the Sasquatchers, and she's part Ojibwa, and she had told me that the Ojibwa name for Bigfoot is Gichisabe, and I'd been wondering, if I see another one, I wonder if I'd get any kind of reaction if I just said that out loud to it. So that's what I did. I just raised my voice and just said Gichisabe.
Oh my goodness.
That's cool.
But the thing, it didn't react. It just stood there staring at me. And I said it twice more, and it still just didn't move. It just kept on staring at me. So at that point, I dared to sit up and lean forward a little bit until I was basically 6 inches face to face with this thing.
Really? Okay, and I know you have courage, Mike, and I do want to say that because he's done a lot of solo camping up there.
It may be courage, it may be stupidity, or a combination of the two. But yeah, I was that close. And when I had my childhood sighting, it was at like 150 yards, so I couldn't see much detail. And now I'm inches from this thing, and I still can't see too much detail because of the lighting conditions. But I was like, well, what do I do now? And I spoke to it again. I just kind of said, do you want to say something? I can see you. And it still just stood there, and I glanced down and I could see parts of its legs. For some reason, I couldn't see what was in between the head and, I couldn't see what position the body was in. And thinking about it later, I think my tent is pretty short, so it must have been crawling as it came up on the tent and then was probably on its knees as it was looking in. But it still didn't react. And so then I actually dared to ask myself, what if I reach up and try to touch one of this thing's hands? So with my right hand, I reached up to try and touch its left hand, with the tent in between. But when I touched the door, it was like there was nothing there. So at first I was thinking okay, it must have seen me raising my hand and pulled its hands back like it was saying, no, don't touch me. But then I've had it suggested to me that, well, maybe something else was going on. Maybe it wasn't in solid form. Maybe it just vanished, or as Randy says they can do, he's seen them do it. So I'm not sure about that. But then I started thinking about conversations that Randy and I have had about other people that have heard things outside their tent while they were camping there and been too afraid to go outside and see what it was. And we both think that's kind of silly to come looking for something and then be too afraid of it to actually see it when you find it. So I just finally came to this moment where I said, the hell with this, I'm opening this door. So I had to look away from it to fumble with the zippers for 10 seconds or so. And then once I got it unzipped, I threw the flap open, grabbed my flashlight and whipped it out there. And of course, nothing was there. So in those 10 seconds, there was enough tree cover around us that it had plenty of time to disappear into the woods. So
wow.
I got out, looked around, didn't see anything. And right away, I thought, I got to go tell Randy about this. And he was sitting on the couch that he has by his campfire. He said he was going to stay there all night. And then I thought, oh, shoot, I don't have a weapon. So I reached into my tent for my bear spray to bring with me and walked back to the fire. Randy was still awake and sat there for about an hour telling him what I'd seen. And
tell him what you said to me when you got there. Mike, tell him what you said to me when you got there, to me.
The first, well, once I asked if you were awake, I said, okay, I just had something happen and I need to find out that it wasn't a practical joke by somebody. And he right away said, well, no, not by me. I don't do that. If I did that to even one person, my credibility would be shot.
Yep.
Yeah, I know Randy good enough to know he would never hoax anybody.
Right. And then I also told you, Mike, it's too weird for me to be walking through the woods with a flashlight to go hoax somebody. It's weird for me as it is back there at nighttime. So I would never do that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then I realized my hands were shaking, and I pointed that out, and Randy said, yeah, I noticed that when I saw your flashlight coming, that it was shaking. But that's basically the story of my second lifetime Bigfoot sighting.
So, okay, well, maybe you can give us a little bit more details on the actual seeing it. You had mentioned it was on all fours, maybe. That's a real
I think
interesting.
it must have been because my tent is pretty short.
Right.
Could have been possibly bending over, so you were only getting the shoulders and the lower legs. Maybe it was kind of in more of a V shape, looking down. That could be maybe a possibility too.
That's what I first thought, but in trying to kind of reenact it, I had to walk pretty funny to walk bent over. It kind of made me sway back and forth, and this thing wasn't doing that. It was just coming straight ahead.
Was it moving at all when it was looking at you, Mike?
Just when I saw the hands come up. That's the only movement I saw from it.
Okay. Wow, I mean, that's, I'm trying to picture myself in that situation. I don't know what I would have done, so I'm not going to say anything.
Yeah, I agreed.
But I know I wouldn't have tried to talk to it or touch it. That wouldn't have happened, I don't think. Maybe it would have. I don't think so. Okay, I don't have that kind of guts. Now, right away, I want to kind of back up what Mike saw, because there's been many daytime sightings there too, many of them. I've even talked to Randy's neighbors that have seen these things there. And so it's you know, his story has been backed up. But John, let's go into your sighting real quick. I know it wasn't like this long story, but the whole story is kind of interesting, right down to the airplane.
Oh. Yeah, it's interesting. You know, this this was back in about, it's almost exactly 4 years ago now. It would have been late April, early May of 2021, I believe.
Yeah.
Well, anyways, there was a group of us out there, including Randy and stuff like that. And we were sitting around the campfire, which is kind of in the back portion of his property there and stuff like that. And I've always been one that I like to break off kind of as a separate, maybe going to me and one other person and kind of get away from it and go back deeper.
What time of day is this, John? Sorry, what time of day is this?
It's right at dusk. So it was, I shouldn't say right at dusk. It would have been before it got dark. So we were just going to go out there and set up on this hill where there's kind of the river is below. And there's been stuff that's happened down there. So we wanted to set up high up there. So I took another member of our group and we decided we're going to go camp out on that top of that ridge. And and we wanted to get out there before dark because it seems like if you're kind of, I don't know, I'm still the old thought of if you're disturbing something, and you're trying to look for it, it's better to get out there before it becomes more active. So in thinking, although we've seen them in the daytime, they seem to kind of be active throughout day and night. With this one, we're going to probably, maybe see it at night because we have the campfire going. So, or if we were having a chance to see it. So, me and the other member decided to walk. There's a fence line. We had to cross the river, go along the fence line, and it kind of takes a jog from the south and starts heading to the east. And as we were following the fence line, the ground's really uneven. The guy who owns the property at one point had bulldozed on both sides and put a barbed wire fence in. And it's about a 54-inch fence. I think, is it 4-strand, Randy, or 5? I don't remember.
5-strand.
5-strand, yeah. So, he's occasionally got cattle in there, but it's over at 1,000 acres. So they're never usually in there very often, maybe for a couple of weeks, and he fences them out of there for the rest of the summer. But at this point, there was no cattle in there and stuff. So we were walking on this really uneven ground. So you're looking at your feet so you don't trip in a hole, and it's grassy too. So it's very uneven. So as we're walking, I happened to look up, and roughly, I don't know, I'm trying to remember the yardage now, approximately maybe 100 yards or so.
It's 100 yards.
Yeah, I think give or take a few. I just looked up, and what I saw is something running at a very high rate of speed from right to left, so south to north. And what it did, it took and there's a clearing on both sides, so as it kind of goes over the top of the hill, it's really lit up. You got the sky right there. And what it did is it took about 2 or 3 steps, and I'm talking this thing was really moving fast. And it went over the fence with all I can describe is it looked like a hurdler. One leg forward and one kind of tucked back, and the head forward and the body a little bit. And then went over the fence, took 1 or 2 more steps, and then went into the wood line, and there's also kind of a trail on that other side as well. I couldn't even say a word because what I saw is this large, dark, humanoid-looking figure just sprint faster than I've ever seen anything go and go over with 2 legs upright. And finally I was able to mutter something, and I asked the guy next to me, I said, "Did you just see that?" And he goes, "See what?" And I said, "What just jumped over the fence?" And he said, "No, I was looking down at the ground because I didn't want to trip or whatever." And I said, "I think I just saw a Sasquatch. I mean, I can't describe it as anything else." I've seen deer jump over fences. I mean, I've been in the woods many years. I've hunted, and Randy's hunted and stuff like that. And I spent, a lot of time just being in the woods in general, just camping and stuff. And I've never seen anything like that. Just the speed itself. And I'm thinking, if this thing I could see from that distance, and that it had to been big. So we walked up there. It was dry that spring, so there wasn't any way we were going to find prints. We did look around. We did stay up there for a little while, but it was kind of, I had that fight or flight response going. And I don't know if you had that, Mike, when that happened, where you kind of you're super like your body's just ready, tensed up and everything. It took me a while to kind of come down from that. So we sat up there for maybe an hour until it was too dark to see anything, and we just didn't feel comfortable. We ended up walking back, and I just had this feeling that something was still there, and I just could not grasp, what I just seen, And, and I've been in this for a long time, and, I've seen tracks, I've seen stuff, heard stuff, but never had a visual like that where I've actually could, say, yeah, that's what I saw. So, and I know people ask, well, was it a bear? Randy and I have walked that fence line 100 times. Bears don't jump like that over a 54-inch fence. I've seen them go through the second, third, and sometimes underneath the barbed wire, we'll find the hair all over the place. Sometimes, multiple places where bear pushed through the fences or gone underneath, even dug. You can see, where they've taken the hair off the back even. In deer, you can obviously see the four legs, or, and say, well, from the side, can you see two? But it would have been lower, wasn't been upright leaning forward, deer would be really stretched out and stuff. And, and the color wasn't correct. So yeah, that's pretty much what I saw that evening, or going into the evening. The next day I had to leave. So Randy was going to go out and see if he could find some footprints, maybe some hair, possibly on a fence line, stuff like that, because it's a pretty high fence. So we thought, well, if this thing went over and it had any hair hanging down, it was going to leave some hair on that fence. Well, Randy, you may tell this part of it a little bit, because you experienced this portion of it when you headed out there to look around. If you want to go ahead and
So he gave me the GPS coordinates.
Yep.
So I walked out there, and I got the spot. All of a sudden, a plane flies around me. It's so low I could see the guy's eyebrows. I wave at it, give him a good wave, and he does not acknowledge me, but he sees me. I can tell that he sees me. Well, he flies around me 8 times, and then he flies back to Bemidji. The plane found out was rented from Bemidji to come to my place and then go back to Bemidji. Now, why is that? Monitoring what's going on there.
Did it have any markings or any?
Oh yeah, yep. Oh yeah, we got the markings of it, the numbers on the side and all that. We found out, that's how we found out where it came from and all that.
So, what do you think the plane was doing there, Randy?
I think it was checking out a sighting.
Yeah. Well, obviously, there were calls I know that were made to me before that plane showed up. I don't know if it was you, Randy. I can't remember. It was you, John, or both of you. I think you both called.
Probably did, yeah.
Yeah, I know you did, John, for sure, but I know Randy called me too.
Yeah, we were the only 3 that knew about it, except for the people at the campfire, and obviously nobody had contacted anything there.
But it's kind of hard to explain a plane just taking off from Bemidji, coming over your property. How many circles did it make?
8 times in the same pattern.
Yeah.
Lower than low. I could see his eyebrows. I could see his face. I waved at him.
He looked
low. At me, but he didn't acknowledge me. He didn't do one of the wing things like that and acknowledge me at all.
Crazy. Yeah.
I know.
Hey, yeah. It's always that government, maybe. Who knows? Who knows? It's always in the back of our minds once in a while.
Right.
So, Mike, back to you. What other experiences have you had there, Mike? Because you've camped there. I know numerous times. I think Randy has not a motorhome, a trailer that he has guests stay in. I know you've stayed in there and have had some kind of activity. What other activity have you had, Mike?
I've heard a lot of stuff there where I thought there might be a creature within 50 yards of me. My very first visit there was in December of 2019, and that's when I heard a wood knock for the very first time. I'd seen that on Finding Bigfoot over and over, where they bang on trees and try to get an answer. And I'd tried that many times, never gotten an answer. Heard it for the first time on my first visit to Randy's while we were out in the state land. Just one whack, probably within 100 feet or so of us, I'd say. But there's so many different vocalizations that people have heard there, and I've heard a lot of them. it seems like they can imitate anything that they hear, different animal sounds especially. I've heard an elk call, horse whinnying when there's no elk that live in the area ever, and Randy's daughter has horses close by, but we knew there were none out in the woods right on Randy's property, and yet we're hearing horse whinnying. Also, there's cows within a mile, and they can do a really good cow bellow that I have heard within 50 yards of me. I've heard the standard whoops that people talk about. I never heard a Bigfoot scream until fairly recently, several months ago. I don't remember what month it was, but the three of us, Randy and John and I, were by the fire, and over towards where the cow pasture is, we started hearing this distant scream, and it was there's a moment in the Sierra Sounds recording where the big male sounds like it's shaking its head back and forth as it's making this long, drawn out, deep-throated sound. And there was one point in this scream, a high-pitched scream that we were hearing, where it sounded like it was doing the same thing, like shaking its head back and forth. So yeah, that's, I think, the second time in my life that I'd heard what I would call a Bigfoot scream. The first time was years ago.
Have you had any slaps, or like where they've touched your tent or hit your tent or the trailer home you were staying in?
Yeah.
Anything like that?
I had hair found on my tent in the morning one time, but as far as staying in the trailer, I started doing that because I knew they'd been seen coming right through the front yard. So there were a few nights when I just kind of did a stakeout looking out the window of the trailer and then slept in there. One night was during this SRA visit where multiple people were there, and everybody that was there had some kind of experience, whether seeing or hearing something. And I had been hearing sounds all night, and it was down to about 3 a.m, and I was finally getting tired, and I was rolling out my sleeping bag in the back bedroom of the trailer. And all of a sudden I heard this soft little scrape on the outside of the wall that just kind of, didn't really startle me. It just kind of made me go, what the heck was that? And there was no window in that room. So I went to the next room where there was one and looked out, but all I saw was pitch black. And I always say I should have gone out and looked around, but I was tired and I just went to bed. And when I went out there in the morning with Randy and showed him the spot, there were these giant white finger marks along the wall for about 3 feet horizontally. There was seven fingers showing. It looked like 4 from one hand and 3 from the other. And the hands were the size of baseball gloves.
Wow.
Looks like one came by and just wanted to mess with me or give me a sign that it was there or whatever. I'll never know what it meant, but
right,
that's what I got that night.
Well, let's talk about this white stuff, because is that stuff still on that whatever it is, trailer? Is it still on that trailer home?
The trailer is gone now, but yes, it was still on there.
Yeah, it was. It just takes forever. So yeah. Randy, I got to give Randy credit. Okay, so I'll start the story. Randy, you can finish it.
Okay.
But at one point, we had a bunch of cameras on the property. Adam had set up a bunch of small video cameras. Randy had some trail cameras that he was using. And I did mention one day, I said, Randy, take the trail camera, take the batteries out, and just leave it on the ground by the tree and let them, play with it. See it as it's not harmful or whatever. And Randy did that. And then I'd asked him about it, and he said, oh, it's covered with, and you can pick it up from there, Randy.
White fingerprints all over it.
Yeah, and white.
Then I sent you guys a picture of one I've got on the Highline pole when I was doing cameras. It was twisted and white fingerprints all over it. Yeah. About 6 years ago, and they're still on there. Cameras in the closet.
But it was this case that triggered my brain to go, okay, Now I know for sure this is not dust when they're touching things.
Oh.
It's a sebum, and that's when I put out the report on Facebook about what to watch for, about the whiteness. Shelley Covington, Montana, named it Sasquatch alba vernix, and we've been studying it ever since. We're hoping still to get a finished chemical compounds that are in Bigfoot sebum, because every primate has a different amount of different chemicals. So Randy, but what was most unique, he goes, they won't rub off.
Yeah, it doesn't.
It's like permanent, and it kind of like etched into the plastic, which I then studied acid and sebum, in which there is, it kills bacteria. And then I studied plants that they might eat that would make their sebum more acidic, and on and on and on it went. It really got me thinking about the sebum and the skin oil. And I do thank you for that, Randy.
Yep, you're welcome.
Yeah, that was your indirect jarring of my brain, was what was going on up at your place. So Randy, you've been leaving like peanut butter. And what do they do with the peanut butter jars that you leave up there?
Okay, last year I went through 300 jars of peanut butter and about 30 bags of apples.
Wow.
This year, I don't count no more. Too many. So here's what they do. So I got 4 nails in a tree out in the woods. And I'll take the lid off, take the paper off, put the lid back on, put the peanut butter in the crotch of the 2 nails there so it balances there. And I take 4 apples, I put them in some bushes close by.
Okay.
When I come out there the next day, the peanut butter jar, the lid is taken off and it's laid down by the tree, meaning the reds are together, the browns are together, the blues, whatever color they are, and they put it stick triangle around that, which I don't do none of that stuff, and they take the apples. Now, yes, bear do get my peanut butter jar sometimes, or raccoons. When a bear gets it, the peanut butter jar is totally ripped in half. There's residue still in it. The cap is busted in half. When a raccoon gets it, there's holes chewed in it, and they're licking the peanut butter out. When Sasquatch gets it, the jar is gone. But sometimes they bring the jar back and they stick it upside down in a bush of a tree. So there's about 8 of them right now back there. They look like they went through a dishwasher. They are perfectly clean.
Right. I've seen it myself. Yeah, they're just clean. But you remember that one peanut butter jar that stunk? Like it had been something.
Yes, I do.
Something that was stinky carrying it around.
Yeah.
And I asked Randy to freeze it, and I think it got lost, didn't it? The stinky one.
I think it did, yeah. And I don't know why it would have, because I put it in the freezer and left it there.
Yeah. But it smelled really bad. I smelled it
bad.
myself. Yeah. It smelled like the putrid stink that they seem to put out.
You just said it right. Put out.
Yeah.
They put it out. Yep.
Yeah,
I can tell you about that too.
Yeah, well, we had an experience with that too. That was kind of odd.
Yeah, you did. Yeah.
I don't know if you want to tell that story.
I'll tell them. I'm bringing Doug and Adam and Tanner's with. That's my wife's son. And we're by where I do my peanut butter. And Doug says, Randy, sing. And I said, sing? He said, well, you play in a band, sing something. So I felt dumb singing in the woods. So I started singing. And when I quit, they got an awful smell.
Yeah.
I started singing, it went away. I stopped singing, they got it. Yeah. Because I can tell you something. Sasquatch does not smell. They put that smell in a person's mind.
Oh, it was weird.
Too many times people have been with me and they get an awful smell and I don't get it. My smeller works good.
Yeah.
And the reason people get that smell, that really rotten meat, dead dog, whatever smell, that Sasquatch does not want that person there. Because that person's trying to get evidence off Sasquatch where I'm not. That's the difference.
Okay, well, those are all, that's good theories. I mean, you may be right.
No, it's not a theory because it really happens to me. There's too many times. I'm talking about hundreds of times I have people with me, they get a bad smell and I don't get it.
Right. And we moved, as I remember, we walked like a quarter mile. And then when I said, Randy, do it again, sing. Randy sang, everything's great. He stopped and we got blasted with stink again.
Yeah, and I didn't get it. I didn't have that smell at all. They put that in your mind, that bad smell.
Well, it could be. Yeah, you're right. That could be. We don't know. When I say it could be, means I'm open-minded. Mm-hmm. I know you've developed some very solid theories on what they are, what they can do, and blah, 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 which is great, but not all of us are there yet, unfortunately.
Well, exactly right. I understand that everybody's not there. I understand that.
But okay. But I do know that was a real experience because it was me, Adam, and Tanner all smelled, and it was putrid. It was bad. It wasn't like, oh, do you maybe smell that? No, it was like, oh my God. And then the moment you'd start singing, it would go away.
Yeah, I know.
And we kept walking to new locations. Have you ever tried that experiment again with other people?
Oh, yeah. What they do to me now is I get a skunk smell. A few weeks ago, I'm back at my deal there doing my peanut butter thing, and all of a sudden I get a bad skunk smell. I thought, what the hell? I don't want to get sprayed, and I'm looking around. Oh, I don't see no skunk at all. Then I walk to where I do my other little thing. I got 5 spots back there. Do my other little thing, and I stop halfway. I want to go back there, see if that skunk smell's there. Nope, it's not there. I go to the Dyson, it's there. It follows me around. Then I walk down towards the river. It's following me around. I stop, walk back to where I went out of the woods. It's not there. So they give me the skunk smell. So when I realized that, I said, hey, I can smell you guys. Come on, let's go. I just talked to them. If anybody heard me, they think, what is this guy talking in the woods? But it's working.
John, have you ever experienced that? Or Mike, have you ever experienced a stink out there?
I haven't, except for when the jar, I think I remember smelling on the jar, and stuff like that. And it wasn't a rotten peanut butter smell or anything like that.
No, the peanut butter wasn't rotten.
It was fresh, yeah. So I've smelled it. I know Randy put it up to me. I'm like, oh my God, that stinks. I'm like, I don't know. I couldn't even describe what it is, but it was nasty. So,
yeah.
But, and just a note too, and you showed a couple of the pictures there, you could see the fingers in there. They swiped it. And you could actually even see the fingernail, and they're not small fingers. Some of those were really large on the one. I don't know about the other one, but the one I did see there. But yeah, no, I haven't had the smell as much as probably what you guys have had experienced. But Mike can probably elaborate if anything he had.
Well, Randy has evolved into I would call it passive Bigfoot research. Correct, Randy?
Correct. Yeah, I'm not even researching anymore. I'm an interactor. They interact with me, and I'll tell you why later. But
save it for the end of the show, and we'll let you do that.
So here's one thing I came up with. There's wannabes. No insult to nobody. They want to believe, but they've never seen.
Right.
They want to believe, and then there's believers. They might have seen one run across the road, so they believe now. There's knowers. They know what they are, but they don't say nothing because they don't want to be teased or ridiculed. But they interact with me all the time, and I got so many things I can say. So I'm not researching anymore. I'm just interacting.
You're just enjoying them on your property.
Exactly right. Exactly.
That's fine. Yeah, and I think a lot of people end up there in the same place for some reason that people that don't have Bigfoots on their property don't know. I don't have Bigfoots on my property. I can't relate to what it's like to live, because Randy has to live with these things.
Yeah, and here's another thing. I invite him to the house all the time. I go out in the woods every day. It doesn't matter if it's 40 below out, raining. I'm out there every day doing and I ask him to come to the house. I say, hit the house, mess around, and they do mess around. But I like it. I'm wanting it, so I'm inviting it.
Yeah, okay.
I know.
It's Randy's way, whatever.
Yeah. I know. Terry don't like it. She does not like me doing that, but I don't listen.
Yeah. And you've had your home slapped quite a few times while you've been there.
Been in my house, did so many things that, and I can't say it's Sasquatch did it, but something's also been in the house, did so many things, it's crazy.
Yeah. Well, they've been known to go in properties. Do you feel, this question goes out to Mike and John, do you guys feel that there's any danger at all out there by these things, or by Sasquatches in general, or just Randy's group seems to be okay? Where do you guys stand on this whole aggression and the fear? Because I still get very scared, even though I put myself in situations where they're around. I just did it again in August. It was crazy. I'm probably going to go up do it again this year. I'm going to come up to Randy's place here. It sounds like in August or September. But do you guys, do you feel that there is danger, period? John?
I feel I have this belief that it could become, depending, I always think of things when you feed things and you quit, they tend to get more aggressive. I've seen it with bears and different things that people have had, kind of got them in a cozy relationship. But again, I don't know. I mean, this is kind of uncharted territory for me, as well as Randy. He's got a good relationship out there with it. They seem to be on the more friendly side. Their aggression is usually, I would say, more playful, or they're banging on things. But there's been some stuff that I think can probably go in a bad direction at a point, maybe at some point, and if what I think, if there's a group of them, which I believe there is, because there's been different sizes and so forth,
Yeah.
colors and so forth, there's always a bad apple and everything, It can, it could be a member of the group, or a maybe a new one, or one that's just kind of rogue or been kicked out.
So trust and be cautious.
Yes, yeah, correct. I think there's a possibility, but like I said, as of now, I think Randy's pretty comfortable. But again, I don't know.
So Mike, you standing or you talking to this thing and reaching out to touch it, that took a lot of guts. But were you scared when you were doing that?
Strangely, not really. Just during that first minute, like I said, I was like, this can't be happening. But once I started thinking clearly, no, I really wasn't scared. I couldn't really tell you why. But when it comes to them being dangerous, there's been so many years of constant activity now. They've had just repeated chances to harm a human being, and they haven't done it. So I don't think they're ever going to attack somebody unprovoked. I think we can be sure of that.
Right.
It's hard to say what they would do if someone was to attack them.
Right. Good point.
So I wouldn't recommend doing that.
No.
But there was a psychic who kind of did a reading of the place once a few years back, and of the creatures themselves, and she said she got the impression that they're on par with us for intelligence, but when it comes to emotions, they're like 5-year-old kids, and that they'll have temper tantrums when they don't get their way. I had an experiment there once where I put put square sections of mirror in some trees with a trail camera pointed at one of them. And they did not seem to like that, because the next time after I set it up, the next time I came there, all of my mirrors were on the ground. The one the camera had been pointed at was shattered, like it had been stomped on. And the camera was turned sideways on the tree and smeared all over with mud. So I think they may have been a little miffed with me for a while for trying to trick them that way.
Yeah. It's so interesting. How long do you think that group has been there, Randy? Because you've lived there for how long?
Since 79.
Do you think they've been there since 79? Did you have like some activity back then?
Well, I tell you what, I was never a believer in Bigfoot, non-believer, believer. I wasn't nothing. And Mike will know, it was 11 or 12 years ago. After deer hunting, the next day I'll go out in the woods so I can see if I can find out where the deer go during the hunting pressure and all that. So I'm back in the woods by one of my deer stands, and I come across, there was snow on the ground where 3 deer beds were. Something killed 3 deer in their bed overnight and left nothing but hair. There was some blood squirted on the tree, but just hair. No bones, no rib cage, no nothing. And first thing I think, oh my God, a pack of wolves back here, and I got no gun or nothing. So I take a picture of it. When I get home to show Terry, Terry's my wife, to show Terry, you got to see this here. This is really something. My picture was gone. So I thought I didn't know how to work my iPhone. I didn't know how to save it. I know now what happened, but back then I thought that. So then we go on the road in January, And that was the year we had snow so deep it was past your knees in the woods. That's how deep it was.
What year?
Oh, Mike, remember what it was? It's 11, 12 years ago when this all started for me. I'm not
I was
sure.
just doing the math in my head. It's been about 11 and a half years now.
Okay. So we get home. We were playing in Nevada. Our band plays like Wyoming, Nevada, the western states. We get home, and it's going to be 40 below that night. So I take the snowmobile. There was no fence then, and ride around the old logging trail. And this land, you can't get to it. It's landlocked by old farmers. You can't get to it, really. And so I knew it would freeze that night. I could walk on my trails the next day. So I'm doing that, and I start coming around, get close to the river, and I come across these tracks. And I'm looking at them. Here's what I said. What the hell? Is this Bigfoot? And I kind of laughed to myself. And after all said and done, I got a tape measure. They were 7 feet between each step, in line, perfect. They were 18 inches long.
Really? 72 inches between. Wow.
Oh, every step. They stepped across the river. Now, if a deer is jumping in deep snow, every time it jumps, you're going to see its belly hit the snow in between. There was nothing. It was perfect. So I tried to follow them going east towards where the swamp is and all that. I couldn't. Every step was past my knees. It was too hard, and I don't have snowshoes. So I followed them out going towards the highway in the woods. All of a sudden, they just quit. No more. So I'm looking up Bigfoot in Minnesota, and I'm telling Terry about it. And I come across SRA, Sasquatch Research Association. And the head guy there, you can fill something out and send pictures. So I did that. Oh, my God, it wasn't even an hour. He called me up and said, Randy, you got a Squatch. That's how this all started. Then he told me what to look for in the spring. I have structures. Oh,
Randy, who told you that you had Bigfoot living there?
Well, Jim Hebb.
Oh, okay. Gotcha.
Jim Hebb told me. And that's when him and John came in. It must have been that summer come there. Told me to look for structures. And I've been hunting since I'm 12 and I'm 66. And I know the difference between a wind-blowing tree falling over or structures. I have X's, A's, V's. It's the craziest thing.
Well, you have a lot of TPs. Those are the ones that
I have
interest
TPs
me.
too. Yep.
Jeff, do you have any TP pictures you can put up or TP-like structures? I think
Did I send you some? I have lots of them.
I gave some to Jeff.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, you do. I mean,
Gave him at least one.
Yeah,
so that's how this all started. And then I was told, don't ever feed them. If you stop, you're going to get in trouble. And at the time, I thought they were just some big old animal hiding behind a tree. I didn't know no better. So, yeah, that's a little one there.
Yeah, there's more of them, Jeff. I sent you.
Yep.
So, I'm hitting a tree with a stick and putting cameras all up there. But what I did is took my four-wheeler in the summer and put a ladder behind me so I could drag it. And I got out to the state land, and I cut 6 apples in half. And I used the ladder so I could put them up high in poplar trees and reach out as far as I could so deer couldn't get them. And if a porcupine or bear or anything, raccoon, would crawl up the poplar tree, I'd see their scratches. They were gone every day, the 12 pieces. So after about a week, I went out there every day and did that. After about a week of doing that, there was an old deer stand. It's like 15 feet high. Some guy built it a long time ago. I decided to crawl up in that thing and sit there. And I'm sitting there, and it's not dark yet. I see my first Sasquatch cross one part of the woods, cross that little trail to go towards those apples. And my God, I thought, oh my God, I just seen one. And what am I going to do? I don't want to get down. It's right over there, but I don't want to stay either. Eventually, I was glad I had the four-wheeler there, so I didn't have to walk.
Yeah.
And I got out of there. That was my first sighting.
Okay.
But I've had
well, can you tell us, what did you see? Was it black? Was it?
Oh, it was black. It was
big, little,
massive, bigger than the Hulk that you'd see on TV, and really tall. I don't know how tall it was, but it was massive. I seen it out of the corner of my eye. I was looking this way, and I seen it like this way, out of the corner of my eye, cross over. And I seen it, and I looked, and I seen the back end of it.
Now you've seen quite a few. You've had quite a few sightings over the years.
Yes.
What was your best one ever?
Best one? I'm doing my gifting. I guess 2 years ago now. I'm doing my gifting, my peanut butter and all that stuff. And there's a deer stand in an opening, old thing that I made. And there was leaves all over the ground. It's in the fall. And I always say you guys, whether they're male or female. I said, you guys, I'm going to go sit in that deer stand. I want you to come to me. So I'm sitting there. I think I'm even looking at my phone. I'm not really thinking about Sasquatch. And all of a sudden, my eyes go out of focus, and I get dizzy. And I say, what the heck? I put my hands down like this here, and I go like that. I look up for a second. Oh, I'm still dizzy. I go down, and I hear a footstep right by the stand. I look up. There's a Sasquatch right there, like that close to me. I could have touched it. He looks at me. I look at it. It takes another step. I turn like that, look at it, and it disappeared. Poof, gone. It did not walk off. I watched it disappear because if it would have kept walking, I'd heard the leaves crunching. There was no more. It disappeared. Poof,
Well, some
gone.
people might say you hallucinated it.
I didn't hallucinate it. It was there because I can't hallucinate leaves crunching a footstep.
Okay.
There's no way I can.
Did you have any details that you saw, Randy?
I just seen the side of its face and the back of its head.
Okay.
And the plywood in that deer stand is 9.5 feet up. This was that much taller. It was a 10.5 footer. It was black. It was in the daytime. I've never seen him at night. My sightings have always been daytime sightings, close.
Yeah.
We look at each other. I'm not scared of them. But I will say this here. For me to go back at that fire ring back there, to sit there by myself, I'm weirded out. Because I don't know what I'm getting myself into at nighttime. There's so much weirdness going on here.
Yeah.
So if somebody's with me, I'll do it. But to sit there by myself, I don't feel good about it. I don't feel comfortable.
Yeah. So have most people had some type of an encounter that you've had as guests up there overnight?
Yes. They've been seen 36 times at my house. I've seen them 12 times.
Wow.
I've seen the red one. I've seen the black one. I've seen a 12-footer. I've seen one that's kind of whitish like. But that was my best sighting there, the one that was right by me.
Well, I remember you would see an Auburn one in the clearing where the power line poles are at least once or twice.
Yes.
And there's a pole there that we believe they're using as an itching post because they leave clumps of hair quite high.
Yes.
And these are been verified by me as tapered in, no medulla, the wavy. They're not human, but they have the human scaling. Yep. And we do have a bunch of those hairs at NC State right now. We're waiting.
Mm-hmm.
But fortunately, I've got some more that I've got to get to another lab here soon.
Mm-hmm.
Results have been slow to come, but we're hoping that NC State will come through.
Now, Sasquatch gifts me. I've got 44 deer skulls that they've given to me now.
Yeah, that's interesting too.
I know they've given to me because they'll be on the steps of my house. 8-point bucks, 6-pointers, spike bucks, does, fawns, little baby bucks with a little nubbin like that big, beaver skulls. They'll be on my steps of my house, or they'll be in one of my deer stands, or I'll walk in the woods like I do, come back the same way, and there's a deer skull laying there. It wasn't there before. It can't. And there's nobody hoaxing me. I'm going to sneak and follow Randy and put a deer skull down in the trail and let's see if he finds it.
Right.
It's not happening. Now, as people know.
Well, you're not the only guy that gets gifted skulls.
Really?
Lots of people do.
Oh, do they? Now,
yes.
And you want me to really, they have mind speak to me quite a bit.
Well, yeah. That's a whole nother topic. I don't know if I want to go down that rabbit hole because it'll take up the whole night. We'll get you back sometime and just focus on that because I would like to get some other people that have experienced that too, Randy.
Sure.
So you're not standing alone. Yeah. You know what I mean?
I do know what you mean.
Yeah.
I do know what you mean, yes.
But you've had enough, like really real things happen up there. We did see some weird stuff on our cameras.
Okay.
And that brings me to my sighting that I had, but it was on camera. We had set up, how many cameras did we set up there? It was quite a few.
Okay.
Like 10?
8 cameras, but they weren't trail cameras. They were just security cameras for your home.
Right.
And then they run, 1,000 feet of extension cord from my house and 1,000 feet of Wi-Fi cable to my house.
Yep.
I mean, from my house out in the woods there.
Yep.
Go ahead and take it. Your turn.
Okay, so we had just set them up, and I was on walkie-talkie with Adam. We're on my cell phone, and we're just deciding where to put them. And we put one on that deer stand. We hid all these cameras. We would hide them behind put a hole in a no trespassing sign and have the lens come through a bullet hole. We decorated some that look like mice, which we had eagles and hawks attacking and owls at times. We disguised them all, most of them. And one night, it was the first night that they were operational. right? He had just got done
Yep.
with the installation. Adam's in his tent, and I'm watching the cameras. This is exciting, right? Night one. Because if you're going to see something, it's going to be night one when they don't know it's there. And so I'm watching the camera, and I thought, oh, hell, these got speakers on them. I can play audio through them. So I'm playing the Moorhead, some of the Moorhead sounds through periodically through this one camera. And I'm watching, and on the camera I was watching, I see a big black figure walk by the lens, a smaller one. These are AI cameras. And so the box is locking onto it. It's locking on their joints and everything. So I got a big one, and then a smaller one behind it, and then a really small one behind it. But all were upright. All had joints, and all, well, at least the first two did. And they walked by, and I'm like, like freaked out. I'm really freaked out. My hair is standing on end. I call Adam. He's in his tent. I wake him up. He's sleeping because it's like 2, 3 in the morning. And I go, Adam, do not erase anything in the cloud. Don't erase the cards. And I explain with Cameron. He's like, why? And I tell him what happened. And he goes, I don't have them hooked up to the cloud yet. I don't have memory cards in them. And I'm like, no! Are you not? I was really let down.
Yeah.
As Randy puts it, I was in tears.
Yeah.
It really was a blow because I'm thinking, well, what are the chances? I was up all night just staring at those cameras. And lo and behold, I just felt like I got outsmarted again, right? So that's my story up there. And it's kind of a sad one because it would be awesome to have that footage. Now, we have seen a lot of weird things on the footage. I can kind of laundry list it. We saw really weird mist one night. Like, it was just really almost supernatural mist. We did see something kind of materialize that looked like a Bigfoot on one clip. I mean, it was hominid shaped, black, but it was a little pixely. But it looked like it materialized out of nowhere.
Like with his arm out.
Yeah, and then it disappeared.
And there's an oar behind it.
Yeah, we saw a lot of things like that. We saw what looked like a military drone go through your forest one night. About 3 in the morning, you could even see the brush getting blown from the propellers, the prop wash. And that came through at a high speed one night. Saw a lot of we just saw a lot of weird stuff and we got a picture of what looked like it could have been a hand, but yet it doesn't look like a hand. Go ahead and put that up, Jeff.
Which one?
It's the brown one with got a red arrow just pointing to it.
Gotcha. Yep. 1 second.
And it's just a weird picture. It's not like fingernails on it. In fact, this is an unenhanced. Remember, we had to blow it up. This is cropped a little bit. It was almost like a juvenile hand. It was folded and crushed. But you see what looks like fingernails? The lighter, maybe not.
And then down that red down there, that's blood from that old freeze and burned venison that I had put there.
Oh, yeah. So it was interesting. I mean, it could be something else, but whatever. We just found it interesting. So we ended up getting hundreds of photos, kind of interesting, but nothing conclusive. There was another one where we got like almost an arm of something. Like the whole arm had a lot of hair on it. Then there was another one I sent you, Jeff. It's black, and it almost looks like a Bigfoot from the... Yeah, there it is. Like it's got its back turned. That's cropped from the footage.
Elbows and elbow, yep.
Yeah, it almost... I mean, that almost looks like a Bigfoot with short hair. And what's that line on that side of its head is probably a stick. I mean, you got to remember, some of the lines you see are probably sticks that are too far away to be lit by the IR light.
No, so that's stick right there, that short stick there, that's 10 foot.
Really?
Yeah, that's 10 foot. That short one right there. And then when it stands up, it's taller than 10 foot.
So we don't know. Yeah, this is the kind of stuff we were getting. We don't know what we were getting, but we were getting weird, things that we just couldn't 100% identify. We didn't get the money shot, the clear close-up of the face. Right. That was the money shot we were after. We didn't get it. We did get some butts, elbows, maybe hands and things like that, but nothing conclusive. What did you think about those pictures, Mike? That picture I just showed you. What do you think about that?
Actually, I'm not seeing the pictures, and all the pictures of you guys have been in freeze frame for several minutes. So.
Oh, okay. Well, don't worry about it.
What the issue
You can
is.
watch it. You can watch
But-
it later.
I've seen the picture before though, and it is really interesting.
Yeah, it's interesting. Exactly. John, what say you?
You know, we went back and forth thinking a little bit, is it a bear, up against the tree scratching its back, or is it, but it's the size, and we kind of went through and looked at it. And if I remember right, and correct me if I'm wrong, Randy, wasn't there a dead deer in that right there?
There was a dead deer there with the heart and liver gone.
Yeah.
I said, this is when I was doing cameras. I'm going to put a camera here. And I went back the next day. There was no drag marks. That deer was carried off. And on my camera, I got that.
And that's what we figured. So we figured if it would have been a bear, it would have consumed or been
Would have been some kind of drag marks. There was nothing.
Yeah, dragged it and we didn't. It wasn't anything of that sort. So, again, it's.
And if it would have been a bear, I would have had other pictures. I only had that picture, and that's it.
Right. I mean, everything's, it can't be conclusive, but, to me, I thought it was a pretty good picture.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Jeff, what do you think about this, seeing this for the first time?
Yeah, it's interesting is the best. Or I mean, it's not. He just said it perfectly. It's not conclusive, but it sure is interesting. I mean, it's odd. You know what I mean? You can't
almost
easily
see the
identify what it
spine.
is.
You can almost see the spine there. That I know there's no stick there causing that line, but the lines up by the head and around the other areas, it almost, I don't know. It's fascinating. It's all you can do is shrug your shoulders, right?
Yeah, it's not, you can't easily identify what it is. That's for sure.
It has zero
definitely-
scientific value. Scientifically.
Yeah.
Show that to a scientist. He ain't getting excited.
I would take note too. If it were a bear, and I've seen the comments that it could be, if it was scratching its back, which they do against trees. These are elbows. I don't see the paws hanging down in this picture where they'd kind of half down. You would see them hanging down a little bit. They look like, I've seen enough bears. Just had one here in my deck a week ago here, and I zoomed in and looked at the structure and everything like that, and I just couldn't see it in this picture. So if I didn't know the situation, what Randy had told me and you guys had told me, I would probably have maybe said bear, but at this point, I'm leaning against it. Just because I know the situation.
It's interesting. Frustrating is a better word.
Can I tell you something about that hand deal? That looks like it could be a hand.
Yeah, go ahead, please.
Well, you asked me to go back there, and I never took the camera off to go back there and try to recreate that. And I had Tanner with me.
Yeah.
He's got a red beard. He had a hat on. I had Brian Glenn that has seen Sasquatch at my place, and he's got a white beard and bald. I said, don't you guys ever go in front of the camera. And I brought my laptop back there. So I was really dumb about it. I was laying in front of the tree when I should have been behind it. So after the third time, I'd take the SD card out, put it in the computer. Oh, I keep getting myself in there. All of a sudden, Brian Glenn gets sick. He's bent over, got really weird feeling. Eyes weirdly weird and everything. Well, nothing I can do about it. I take the SD card out, put it in the computer, and there's half a body of a Sasquatch standing right by me. Right there, I got the picture. It's not a bear because the bear is not going to walk up on us. And if it is, our eyeballs would have seen it. We didn't see it. Just the camera did.
Pretty interesting.
Yeah, I know it's really weird. It is. I know, but it happened.
Yeah. I'm just.
Can I add something?
No, John. Sorry, you're not allowed to talk. Yeah, go ahead, please.
It goes back to, we're also talking about the dead deer and stuff like that. We had a situation where there was a group of us from the SRA out there along with Randy, and we had taken a walk past. And just a little lay of the land, this would have been, probably beyond the private owner's property that has the fence line. Then you go into state land, and that state land back there is really not accessible from the other side. There's a lot of wetland. So it's very tough to get in there unless you have permission by a landowner. But with that being said, before that fence line is where I had my sighting, that used to be, there's a couple of trails that used to come from Randy's side that were older four-wheeler trails or possible, hunting cut trails. They'd grown in and heavily grown in. We had walked on one of those trails out past one of his deer stands that are on the state land. And beyond that, while we were gone, something happened on the return trail that we came. We were coming back and we found what I believe is an ambush site, or we believe was fresh red blood. I mean, as bright as it can be. So it had even coagulated, if you want to call it, or gotten that sticky red, dark red, and but you could see where something had stood behind a lot of brush, and it hit the deer so hard that there was blood sprayed everywhere. And then what it did is, whatever it was, that it looked like it had picked it up and it carried it, because we followed big footprints that went towards the fence line, but then decided to go away from the fence line and go straight into the state land, which we followed as far as we could. We came back that night because we wanted to find the blood trail, and we used, a light that we could see it. We followed it for a while, and you could see the spray like it was coming out of the nose of the deer, and whatever it did, didn't drag it, didn't pull it in the woods like a bear or a cougar or even in a tree, but carried it. And you can tell that even as it went past certain trees, it had moved it from one side to the other on the shoulder, because whatever it was spraying down, so it like had been draped over a shoulder. And we went around thinking, well, did somebody hunt out a season, and we didn't find any four-wheeler tractor. It was very tall grass. Did somebody take it with a bow? Well, if they were to do that, and it was the neighbor who has the large property, he would have come in with a four-wheeler and brought it out and went to the fence line and then took it that direction.
Yeah.
None of that was indicated. So it was carried out, and it was carried not into where anybody would be, but into the deeper woods. And we lost track of it eventually, the blood, but it was so fresh that we had just gone through there that hour before. So when we came back, it had just happened. So whatever it was.
But there's more to the story.
Yes. You go ahead.
We were way back there, and there was Andy and his son.
Yep.
I don't know his last name, and we were about 100 feet from him, and Andy and his son was about 100 feet away from us, and they were sensing something by them and smelling something. They were sensing it. Well, we had these ravens following us, 3 of them squawking, and I told this John, and I think Mike, you were there too, weren't you? Well, he can't hear. I told this guy, listen here, I can sound like a raven. So I did my little raven squawk, and there was a Sasquatch by them, and it got up and walked off. And walked off towards where, if we'd have followed it, where that deer was killed. And then we turned around. We didn't see it, but they seen it, and they're all excited.
Right.
Then we went out, and that's when I found the deer blood. And I said, my God, I'm good at tracking deer. It was like fresh, like John said. So I got down on my hands and knees at the end there, put a little piece of toilet paper, my last spot of blood on the leaf, and then it just was no more. But it kept switching sides, blood on this side, then blood on this side.
That is weird.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah, it was like avoiding the tree, because you could tell where it would walk close to a larger tree, it had switched to the other side. So like it went, was going between trees, so it wouldn't hit the other one, So it was,
how convinced, John, are you then it was carried off?
Very convinced.
Okay.
Yeah, there was no trace of it being dragged. There was no, and if Randy,
if it was a four-wheeler, it wouldn't be on one side than the other.
No, and it couldn't have gone between these places that we found it. I mean, sometimes it was only, it was narrow, so it had to maybe turn sideways. There was pretty thick woods in there.
ATVs are exactly 50 inches. They can get through a 50 inches, but no less.
No, we would have heard a four-wheel driving. We would have heard something.
No tracks, and if somebody were to hunt, even they would have got a deer there. They wouldn't have carried it out full like that,
No.
Any hunter would gut their deer. They're not going to carry a fully non-involved deer, but.
So I want to ask Mike about other physical evidence that you've seen and the peanut butter feeding and the Randy does a lot of, I wouldn't call it gifting, interaction with objects, correct, Randy?
Yeah, correct.
You're still doing that, I know.
Every day, and it's crazy what they're doing.
All that, Mike, I want to hear your thoughts.
On what specifically?
Oh, on the stuff Randy's doing with interaction, on the physical evidence that you've seen, stuff that you've seen that, from like what John talked about, blood, casts, any of that stuff. What are your thoughts on the physical evidence that's been gathered, shown you, and that Randy has with his interactions?
The first thing that springs to mind is I remember my reaction the first time somebody showed me one of those peanut butter jars and unscrewed the lid, and I saw that big finger mark in the peanut butter. Yeah. I just remember my mouth fell open and I just stared at it. That was amazing to me. And now over time, the whole thing is pretty amazing. I remember some people being concerned when he first started putting out food for them, that they'd get used to it, and that the times he's away for the winter when the food supply stopped for them, that they'd get angry at that, but nothing seems to have gone amiss with it. It just keeps going on, and I think it's pretty impressive.
Yeah.
Mike, tell them about your cooler, what they did with your lunch meat and stuff that day.
It's happened a couple of times. I've had a cooler there with food in it for making like bologna and cheese sandwiches and mayonnaise. And one time I was camped not too far from where my recent sighting happened, but it's 100 yards or so from the fire, and you can't see the campsite from the fire. So we were sitting by the fire, and I got hungry and decided to go get my cooler and make some sandwiches. And when I got back to the fire and started taking stuff out, the first thing I took out was a mayonnaise jar, and I said, I don't remember there being a dent in this like this. And then I took out some bologna, and there were finger marks and a thumbprint pressed into it. It didn't look like it had been opened, just squeezed, and then put back. Both things had been put back into the cooler, and the lid was closed again. And there was bread and cheese in there that weren't touched. But a bear, it will go in your cooler, but it's going to eat everything, and it's not going to close the lid again for you.
It's true. And boy, Randy, you do have a lot of bear up there. We did see tons of bears on the camera. I remember the one bear, the disappearing bear that glitched out, and it was just, it looked kind of freaked out, and it walked, and then it disappeared, and then it came back again. But the bear was like going up and down the same trail. Do you remember that?
Yeah, I do.
He walked up it, and then he went the other way, then he came back again right away, like he was freaked out. And then he glitched out, and I'm like, how does that happen? But nothing else glitched out. So
that's weird. Yeah, when I go back do my peanut butter every day, I'm a little bit cautious. I don't want to get back there and be in between a mother bear and her cubs.
No. But that bear looked freaked out. Like it looked like it was being hunted. Was the feeling I got from it, from that footage. So New York Todd is here. He has just allowed or talked to homeowners into allowing a whole camera system. I don't know how many cameras it is that Logan put in. And so he's claiming that their activity hasn't ceased. It's still happening. If you want to go ahead and comment on that again. But every group's going to be different. Don't you agree, Randy?
I agree. Yep.
They're all different individuals. Who knows?
Here's why I stopped doing cameras, because some highfalutin guy asked me, say, Randy, put a camera out there on your gifting area there and just say, hey, can we have a picture? And we won't share it to nobody at all. Just be for me and the other guy.
Yep.
And I said, if you don't ever want cameras on this property, you got to make some kind of sign that I will see if you don't want cameras. I go back the next day, my camera's twisted, the batteries are drained dry, the SD card's wiped clean, and there's a 15-foot Y stick laying on my camera, laying right there. Well, the wind didn't do that. It was brought there. So I took that as a sign. I stopped doing cameras.
Yeah, you did.
And once I stopped doing cameras, my activity ramped up even more.
Yeah.
And so that's why I don't do cameras. And
Well, some homeowners would want their activity ramped down.
yeah, I know. I guess I'm one of
So
them.
somebody asked a good question. Squatch Mama says, Randy, in your field tests, what specific patterns have you identified? Repeated motifs or spatial syntax? Have you tried to decode any of these like glyphs and patterns with rocks or anything? Have you tried to decode anything?
I'll make it quick here.
All right.
I have I got a spot with little teeny wooden blocks like that, little kids' wooden blocks.
Yep.
I got that spot. I got some pre-cut red weed eater lines, about like that. On another spot, I got a Rubik's Cube, some dice, a couple sticks. So I'll go out there like today. All my stuff is moved in a different pattern than I left it. I never have food at those spots ever, so it's not, and it's every day. So I'll move it in a situation, just something random I do. I'll take a picture of it. I'll go back like I did today. The stuff is moved. I'll take a picture of that and I'll say, man, you really did this one good. And I'll take a little video. I'll post it on my little page. Mm-hmm. It doesn't mean anything. All it means is I'm having fun with them. They're having fun with me. I'm moving stuff around. They're moving stuff around.
Yeah.
On the power box out in the High Line, that's really crazy. I got a bunch of marbles on there. I'll make them some kind of random thing, which doesn't mean nothing. They'll take all the blue marbles, put them together like that. All the clear marbles, put them together like that. The yellow marbles, put them like this here. Or they'll make a different design, put them all together. They'll change them around. It's every day that's happened. It is really something else. If you go on my page, you'd be able to see that stuff. And so I'll say, man, you really did that one good. I'm going to really get you on this one.
Yeah.
So I'm not saying Sasquatch is doing it because I've never seen what's doing it.
Right.
But they've been seen so many times there, I'm assuming it's
Well,
that.
the thing is, I do know you can agree with Randy or not agree with him, but I know Randy doesn't lie.
Right. No, I don't. I got nothing to gain by lying. I'm not getting no money for nothing. I let people come to my place for free and stay there, you know. But my place now, it's not for evidence. It's for the experience.
Yeah, I got you.
That's what my place is for.
What I like about Randy too is he's pushing the limits of everything. He's trying things, you know, things that I wouldn't even think of, you know. He's out there every single day, you know, sometimes twice, checking on stuff. Well, twice sure, because you know, and takes pictures of it. And like I said, we don't know what's moving it, but with the activity he's got there, something's doing it. And if somebody were hoaxing him, they would have been caught a long time ago. There's no way that they could be that persistent every day. And just the fact that, you know, like I said, I know Randy, he's one of the honest guys I've ever known. You know, he's costing him money. He's not made a penny off anything.
Okay, I'm going to tell you something. Okay, somebody wanted that question. I did find a couple of things out. One time I put a stuffed animal, a little red teddy bear, by my little wooden blocks. And all of a sudden, all my activity ceased. Nothing. It went on for a week like that. And I'm thinking, what the heck is different? The only thing different is that stuffed animal with the eyes. I took it out of there. All my activity started again. Huh. Then I brought an eraser board. And I drew a little stick man, and I put an arrow. This is Randy. Can you draw on here? What's your name? Same thing. All my activities stopped. I waited for about a week. What's different? I said, well, that's stick man. I erased it out of there. All my activities started. So what I found out, they don't like things with eyes. That's what I've found out.
That's interesting.
And that's it. This is at my place. Last year, I asked them, they do things for me all the time. Like I'll say, can you block a trail? So I got to either walk around it or go underneath it. I'll come back the next day. My trail is blocked. I got to crawl underneath it or go around it. So that happened. And I found a fresh broken stick by that. It was yellow on the end, dead stick. And I found a long hair, about like that long, 15 inches long, really long, white. I took a picture of it. I sent it to Doug. Doug said, did you get it? I says, no, I didn't get it. I'm not trying to get evidence. But then I thought, well, maybe I better go get it. So I go back there and that hair is gone. But my eraser board, they broke it all up, broke the frame and everything. So I let that go for a few days, and I said, I better clean that up. So I'm cleaning it up, and I found another long white hair, about like that. So I pick it up, and I say, hey, you guys, I got your hair. I'm not going to take it. I'm putting it over here on one of the nails where I do the peanut butter. I wrapped it around nicely and tied in a little knot and hung down about like that. I said, come get your hair before somebody gets it for evidence. I go back the next day, the hair is gone.
It's interesting.
It didn't
stuff.
blow off. It couldn't blow it off. So that's the kind of stuff I get all the time. One time they blocked my trail on where you can ride the four-wheeler. They put a stick going east, one going west, one going east, one going west, and they put an X in a pine tree. Now, I know Mike and those guys have seen that. Now, one time last year, I said, you know what? I've never seen a structure being made, but I've been in the woods since I've been 12. I've never seen sticks fly through the air and make a structure ever. And I said that, and all of a sudden I'm walking, going to my peanut butter area, or not my peanut butter area where I do the dice and all that. All of a sudden I hear a big crack. Wham! A tree goes down. There's no wind. I see another tree come from the ground, go like this. I see another one come from the ground in front of me, go up like this here. It makes an X, and it makes a Y. And it happened right in front of me. I was like 10 feet from it. I stopped and watched it. No body. Okay. I did not see a body doing it.
Wow.
I mean, I can't take that away. I've seen it.
So, Jeff, do you have that? Did Randy send you any video?
Yes.
Like the mist. I want to show the mist video.
I try not to send you too many because I could have sent you a lot.
Oh, I know.
Right down.
Give me a second here.
Got a lot. Got a lot of pictures.
Yeah.
And video.
Oh, it's endless. It's kind of endless.
That's one of the big orbs there.
Oh, that's whatever.
I'm sorry. I got another video here.
I'm looking for
Hold on a
mist,
second.
but that's okay.
Yeah, hold on.
That's a good one there, that orb.
Yeah,
I don't know what the orbs are. I have no idea.
Well, they could be. It still could be dust next to the lens on the orbs. I believe in orbs. I've seen them with my own eyes.
Mm-hmm.
That's when I believe them. I never trust an orb on an IR camera though, because a dust particle can turn into an orb, a beautiful orb, and on camera. But when you see them with your own eyes, that's different.
Yeah,
completely different.
And me and John have seen orbs with our own eyes.
Yeah, right,
one.
Exactly. Yeah, those I trust. Did you find the mist video?
Yep, give me 1 second here. It's a different format. I got to kind of jump.
Oh, okay. Okie doke.
All right, here we go.
Yeah, it's real pixely, but you get an idea of the kind of weird stuff we were witnessing. That's just weird, But it was just so many things. It was something new every day that we were seeing and we couldn't explain. Like every day, wasn't it, Randy?
Yeah, every day, yeah.
Every day, something weird.
It's still going on every day here.
We were seeing all sorts of weird stuff. Nothing. We weren't getting our target thing. Even then, when we did, sort of, it was still confusing. Left us kind of shaking our head.
So, me and John, he bought a new camera.
You're supposed to say John and I.
Oh, John and I. Okay, he bought a new camera, and he asked me if he could put it out. New lithium batteries, new SD card. I said, yeah, okay, on the state land, we'll do it. So we go to the state land about 50 yards from my deer stand, and I put this is my original gifting area. Put a jar of peanut butter up and some apples up. We get into my deer stand, just something I made, a little platform, some railings, and some plywood around it.
Yep.
It's not big enough for two people, so he's sitting in the chair and I'm standing, but my shoulder is touching his shoulder. And about 11 o'clock at night, it's in the fall now, it's so dark I can't even see him. But off to the east, I see this doorway. It's like 4 doorways wide, and I don't know how tall it is, but it's huge. And it's shimmering like the northern lights, reddish, greenish, yellowish, orangish. And I'm looking at it, and I take my glasses off, rub my eyes. Am I seeing that? I don't say nothing to John yet. Yeah, I'm seeing it. Put my glasses back on. I say, John, you see that? He says, yeah, he was watching it too. All of a sudden, 2 large orangish orbs come out of it, and they're huge. But they're walking because we can hear the footsteps in the leaves.
John, you're backing this up.
What?
Yep, nope.
I just said, John, you're backing this up. And he goes, yep.
Yeah, and they're walking. They go over towards that peanut butter area there, we're in awe. We're not thinking about taking pictures. We're just thinking about it.
Right. You're
a little
observing.
bit. They come back. The first one is not a no orb. I see the red eyes, the cone head, the shoulders, the arms swinging down. The second one is in the orb form. They walk. We hear the leaves crunching. They walk over to that doorway looking thing. They go into it. It's all gone. We sat there for a little bit talking about it. We get down. Guess what? Apples are gone. Peanut butters are gone. The SD card is wiped clean when we get home, and the batteries are drained dry.
Really?
Yes.
I believe you because, man, I've had that happen to me too, and it's freaky. You're just like, this cannot be, and I've even had equipment wrecked permanently. My son, Randy, had cameras explode in his eyes, in his face. So I can't explain any of it.
Yeah, that deer stand, there's a lot of strange things we had out there. He would stay out there till late, but yeah, I don't know. I can tell you another story out there. That same stand, we were out there, and we brought a peanut butter out with us as well, and we climbed up in the stand, and we had stuck one on a tree, and then I apparently forgot the other one. I had it in my backpack, and we got up into the stand, and I was up there, and I thought, oh shoot, I forgot. But it was getting dark, and I'm always the one that, like, when it gets dark, I don't want to move anymore, and so I told Randy, I said, I forgot to put the other peanut butter. I wanted to kind of leave a few coming closer to the stand, and kind of see if we can get them closer, So I just took the lid off and just threw it, as far as I could, and stuff like that. But not super far. I should correct myself on that. Not really, really far. But so they kind of went on for a little bit. It was dead quiet. I decided to play some rabbit distress calls, just I thought, well, what would hurt? Try something different here, Where nothing was happening. And then decided to kind of start dozing off a little bit. It was getting around midnight, I think 12:30 a.m. And we were snap, like a crack on like a stick. And we kind of both kind of got alert all of a sudden, I think Randy, you may have been dozing off a little bit as well. I'm not sure. But as we were sitting there, it was quiet again. I thought, well, what the heck? What snapped? Was it a deer or something in the woods? Couldn't really see. All of a sudden, something let out the loudest scream I've ever heard. Both of us just absolutely, our heart stopped. I had thrown it maybe 25 feet, that thing, at what I believe is it got up to us, and was smelling the peanut butter, looking for it, but then discovered we were up above it, and it took off running on 2 feet. It was literally like if I was running through the woods, but straight towards this, like a big slope that went down to a swamp, and it screamed like every so often, and I've heard many animals scream. I mean, I got foxes living on my property right now that do the screaming and, different things like that. And he had a mountain lion out there as well too, and I've listened to those. But it kept doing that, and then it went down into that swamp. We never did see it because it was too dark. And I think if Randy, I think you had the thermal, we tried to get it on there, but by the time we powered it up and stuff like that, it was already long gone. But
yep.
It just took us by surprise because it had been quiet for so long, And outside of that snapping of that stick, I didn't have any other indication that anything was near us. But it was closer to us than we realized, and it was looking for that peanut butter. And it didn't take it. It was still down there, but must have just noticed us out of the blue. But anyways.
And then we left. We got towards the river, towards the big bridge that the farmer put down. And I jokingly said, wouldn't that be something if I shine down there and there's a cougar down there? And we kind of laugh, and I shine my light. I make everybody use red beam lights, not white beam. And I got this one that's bright. You could shine a deer with it. I shine down there, and what the heck? There's a cougar down there. Long tail, not a bobcat. And it looks at us, and it starts turning around to leave. But then it stops and starts walking towards us. I always bring a pistol with me. It's better to have it and not need it than not have it and need it. So I start pulling it out in case I have to. I'm not going to shoot it, but scare it off. And a log comes thrown at us.
Wow.
From the other side of the river. Log comes throwing at us.
Yeah.
Now, I'm going to tell you something about remote viewing. I don't know much about it, but when I had the girls there, the Sasquatch.
Randy, I don't want to get into that's like a whole nother.
No, but I got to tell you
it's
something.
It's a great story, but it's
no,
just...
this will take short.
Okay.
When she got here, this Tammy said, "You got it. One of your Sasquatches got a friend." I said, "What do you mean a friend? It's got a cougar." Well, she didn't know nothing about Maine John's cougar story.
Right. No, I agree. I mean, I've had remote viewers on our show, but that's like, oh my goodness. There's a lot of people never even heard of the term.
Sure.
It's just like a whole thing. You need to kind of get deep into it. But I do know this. There's something going on, obviously, in your property. You've got Bigfoot activity. You've got neighbors. I want to talk about your neighbors just briefly. We don't want to use names.
Sure.
But I met a neighbor of yours that really you hadn't really even met yet.
No.
That's telling me about Bigfoots on their property. And they live, what, a mile from you, maybe?
About 2 miles as the crow flies.
2 miles, okay.
Woods, yeah.
Close. But then you did eventually meet them, correct?
Yeah, there was a guy, Chad Lewis from Wisconsin, doing a book tour about Sasquatch and that kind of stuff. And he came to Blackduck. I said, I'm going to go there. And when everybody leaves, I'm going to tell them what I got going on here, see if I can have them come out and look. This is when I didn't know much about it.
Right.
And so this other guy, the neighbor you're talking about, he was there too. And I said to him, I'm not going to talk about it while he's still here. So he started talking about it. And I said, hey, I got the same thing at my place. He didn't know about my place. I didn't know about his.
Right. And you guys met. I remember now.
Yep.
And so he's got big. And I called him up.
Yeah.
I don't think he was real happy with me.
No, he's kind of a.
Well, we don't want to go there. I called him up. We did have a long chat, but he was a little caught off guard how I got his number and so on.
Yeah.
The point is he told me the same kind of stories, but he claims they've had activity going back numerous generations.
Yeah, that's what he said.
On their property.
Yep.
So there you go. It's not just this. And I do want to also vouch for John. I've known John a long time. John is like the least exaggerating person you would ever meet. He downplays everything. Not everything's a Bigfoot to John. He's very discerning. In fact, I don't think you've ever had a sighting until there, Randy's correct?
Yeah, not a visual. Yeah, I had an experience when I was younger, but that was, but yeah, no, never a sighting. And I've spent thousands of hours. I mean, some people think it's something you just go see and it's quick and easy. I spent a lot of time in the woods and it took a long time, as Mike can attest as well.
Yeah, John's a very hardworking researcher. I will attest to that. I mean, really hardworking. Randy is insane. Nobody can keep up with Randy. He works so hard at this, I can't even believe it. I mean, he'll walk. You walk miles every day through your forest, don't you?
Yeah. Yep.
I mean,
that's awesome.
It's crazy. There's no way you can keep up with Randy. So he works really hard. And I know Mike is also he's a true journalist because he doesn't just make a phone call. He could have probably got away with just calling Randy. How many times did you go out to Randy's place, Mike?
I've long since lost count. It's been dozens of times I've been there.
Yeah. And it's a long drive for you.
It's about 3 hours.
Yeah.
By the way, Doug, I need to give you a heads up about something. I've been watching my phone battery drain down, and I'm at 7%, so I might be blinking out here.
If you blink out, that's fine. We will still promote your books and try to get people to find them. Because I will say Mike is a really amazing author. Really amazing.
I appreciate that. Thanks.
You really are, Mike. And we always look forward to more books from you. Do you want to just briefly tell us about the Minnesota Scene book, the newest? Throw that purple one up.
Yep. 1 second here.
Bigfoot, the Minnesota Scene.
Well, most of it.
I don't have that one yet.
I wanted to do interviews with as many other Bigfoot researchers in Minnesota as were willing to take part. And I spent about 2 years on that. because some people kind of gave me the runaround for a while before they got around to doing their interviews. But so that's what most of the book is, and they don't all get along with each other, the different groups in Minnesota and the different individuals. But I didn't want to do any exposés about any of the feuds between different researchers, so I just briefly mentioned that they don't all get along, but here are all of their views for everyone to see.
Well, that's cool. I think you interviewed me for it, as I remember.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
I don't know if I'm in it. I have not read it. I am going to read that book because it looks really good. I know Hanger One published it for you, so obviously I'm affiliated with that.
And the final chapter, which is also the longest chapter, is just an update on Randy's case since my previous book.
Wow. What new things happened? And are you going to write another book now that you have a sighting?
I'm sure that I will. I'm not real clear on exactly what it's going to be yet, but I'm, the way I first came into Bigfooting as part of the Flesh and Blood camp, Randy's case has really made me have to say that I'm on the fence now about whether paranormal element is the real explanation. So I want to do a book that explores that much more deeply without making the rest of the Bigfoot field say, well, Mike's gone over to off the deep end, we've lost him.
Right.
I'd really like to try and figure out how to get the two sides of the fence to get along with each other and just agree that they disagree. And that's a tall order, I know. So I'm going to have to spend some hard time thinking about how to do that. But
well, the answer is simple. The Flesh and Blood people need to be open-minded about the paranormal. The paranormal people should be open-minded that they might be frickin' wrong. And that is just flesh and blood. We both need to be open-minded.
Or it could be two different phenomena.
Both
could be true.
Or yes, we need to be open-minded that it might not even be the same phenomenon.
It's possible. Who knows?
Randy could be dealing
That's a good one there. I think that one's right on.
Randy could be dealing with timber ghosts. That other people could be dealing with flesh and blood creatures that are pooping in the woods. It could be different types of creatures we have never even seen or discovered. It could be aliens. I mean, who knows?
Mm-hmm.
Well, I mean, does anybody remember? We're all, a lot of us are old enough, but that was in the $6 Million Man. It was the aliens making a fake Bigfoot. You know what I mean? And that was kind of their thing. They knew that Bigfoot was real. They were making a fake Bigfoot to use as whatever they did. It's been a long time, but yeah, who knows? It's both. I mean, it could be both.
We're back to the turds and tracks, by the way.
I forgot about that.
Full circle, right back. Turds and tracks.
I forgot. That's a good one.
Oh my goodness, it's just
raises a lot of questions.
Yeah.
Well, that's what I like about this too. Yeah, that's what I like about it is because, like any science in my mind is discovering the unknown, right? I mean, I'm the type of person. I mean, Doug and Randy and all of you can attest to this. We're in this not because we think we know it all. I mean, we want to know more, and I got to know this because my curiosity got me going. So, like, there must be something here that so many people. And I really got into it, a few years back in finding Bigfoot too. I was partaking in the town hall, not because I had a sighting, but I was there because I had relatives and all my family's friends that grew up in a very small town also had all these sightings all at this within the same town, same town. I'm thinking there's something going on here that these people I've known all my life, and my grandparents and my great uncle, and they played cards with them, and all of a sudden they were convinced that they saw something they've never seen before. And some of these people were terrified. I mean, I was talking to them and they're just shaking and recounting what they saw. And of course they were on the show. Most of them were. And my aunt was serving lunch there. So then I got, okay, now I'm curious. I have to know more about this because, it's just wanting to know. I mean, it's a sad world when you decide everything's been discovered and you're just flat out know everything. It's just not there. Yeah. So that's why I'm interested.
we don't even know about trees, right?
Right. Yeah.
We don't know anything.
There's so much we don't know. I mean, I've run in circles with some really smart people, and the smartest people I know, they're pretty humble. They know that there's so much. The bigger your knowledge base, the more you realize how inadequate it is, because there's just so much out there that we just don't know.
Right.
It's been my experience.
Yeah.
Exactly.
But the key is what we have in common. We're all curious, right?
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
That's the common trait that we all have in common, need to focus on. We're curious. What are they? You know, and what's going on out there? The forest alone is just, oh my God, it's so mysterious. And that's where Randy goes. You get creeped out at night alone because the forest is a mysterious place.
Yeah.
But you appreciate the fact it's mysterious.
Mm-hmm.
But yet you do wander through those woods a lot during the day. During the
time.
day. Yeah. So, okay, I think we'll wind it up here. Randy, go ahead, give us your last words, then Mike, and then John.
Oh, my last words.
What do you want to leave with everybody?
The best way that I found out at my place to get the evidence that you want is not do the knocking, because they're not hitting a tree anyway. It's not do the knocking and the cameras and all that stuff. And if you go there with an open heart and have interaction with them, that'll be evidence for you. Enough people have that'll be evidence for the world.
Yeah.
There
you go.
like
Mike,
that.
what say you? What do you want to say and leave the audience with thoughts?
I'm just really glad that Randy's case came along for me. It's only the second time since I started Bigfooting that I've gotten access to a private property over an extended period of time. And it's the most intense case I've ever seen. It's absolutely not hoax. I don't understand completely the exact nature of what's going on there, but it is definitely going on. It is not imaginary or lies or anything like that. It's an absolutely rock solid case.
Wow. John?
I do echo that sentiment as well, because, we've all three of us now have had sightings there. So, I was very skeptical up to that because I was always living it through other people. But once I had my sighting, and of course with Randy's credibility and his Mike's as well, I just tell people, keep an open mind, be aware of be very aware of what you do. I've noticed that the three of us, and even you, Doug, too, and so forth, that when we're out, I can walk and I discover things. I see things that nobody else sees. I mean, it's just because I'm very hyper aware. Just be more aware of your surroundings when you're in the woods. You'll see more stuff and get more evidence. Trackers are really good at that. They can take the most subtle hints and find that stuff. So if a person is just not blindly walking through the woods, talking, looking at their feet, just be aware of what's going on. You might notice more stuff that I say 98% of the population is just missing. I mean,
Well said.
not everything's Bigfoot, but it's definitely a lot more out there than you know. So
Very well said. Jeff, you guys just stick around 1 second. We're going to all say goodnight. Jeff's going to play Wisdom of the Week, and then we're going to come right back. Just hang on, guys.
Here we go.
It's time for Untold Radio AM Wisdom of the Week. Just remember this. Every strike you have in your life will bring you closer to your next home run. Good night, everyone, from the Untold Radio Network.
Once again, very good wisdom.
Yeah, and we are back. We really want to thank everybody in chat, all our moderators. I've all picked out one more moderator. I'm going to make a moderator tonight if I can remember to. But you guys are all awesome. What a great group of people in chat. You guys are just
the best.
I've never seen such an awesome chat room. Randy, you're amazing. Keep doing what you're doing.
I will.
Follow your heart. Mike, you keep writing. keep journalizing because you are a true journalist and you need to keep doing what you're doing. John, you're an amazing researcher. Keep doing what you're doing and don't give up. Don't give up. And Jeff, I really put you through the ringer today because
It's all right.
I get Jeff
It's stressful.
a jillion things like within less than an hour. And
Yeah.
thank you.
It got a little hectic.
Yeah,
We got her done.
Yeah. Thank you so
We
much.
got her done.
We'll be back next week with another great show. Same time, same channel. And we appreciate if you all leave a comment in the actual comments. Subscribe if you haven't subscribed. Hit the notification bell. Give us a thumbs up if we earned it or whatever you can do to get the algorithm going because we need more people listening. We really do. So thank you, everybody. Good night. Thanks, guys.
Yep.
Thank you, everybody. Thank you.
Thanks.
Good night.
Good night.
I call you up in the middle of the night. Been bothered by dreams, ain't feeling alright. You give me comfort, say just give it some time. By the end of our talk, I'm feeling just